Howdy, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. That techno music was starting to get on my nerves a little bit. So, first of all, thank everybody for showing up and turning in on my first live stream. A lot of it is, there's a lot of it that had to happen in order for me to even get to this point. So, and some of you are in the chat who helped make that happen. So, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and making this special for me. I appreciate it. So, in today's live stream, what we're going to do is I'm going to cover the questions that I get asked the most from my computer customers. Now, I've been in business in IT. I've been in IT for about 30 years. I've been in business for myself for about 14. And I get some pretty crazy questions, to be honest with you. And some of those I want to cover today for you in case you weren't aware of them. And I just want to real quick see who all we got in the chat before we get started. My buddy Nico, for anybody who's watching, he runs this amazing channel, Nico Knows Tech. He is the second smartest guy I know. So you should definitely go check him out. Let's see, Link Gaming. Howdy, folks. Dana, how you doing? Oh, Dana. I know Dana. Dana, good to see you. All right. So here we go. Let's see. Will you do, let's see. We're going to test out some of these StreamYard tools. So Dana says, will you do a video on how to go live on YouTube? I would love to do that. The only problem with that is that I spend so much time learning how to do YouTube that if I made a video on how to do that, it would screw up my numbers, my analytics. People who come to my channel thinking they're getting computer help, and it's really not my niche. What I can do is absolutely point you to some great channels if you want to learn how to do that. vidIQ is one of my favorites. Rob and Dan, Travis, all those guys over there, they're fantastic. Think Media, Sean Cannell, Heather Torres, just those guys are amazing. So definitely check out vidIQ and Think Media. Another one to check out is Ed over at Film Booth. Look up Film Booth or Film Booth Media. I can't remember which it is. I know it's Film Booth something. He's amazing. Nate with Channel Makers. There's a dozen that I can tell you about. So check those out. That'll be a good start for you. And if you do that and watch any of those videos, you'll see me chatting in the comments. So feel free to bounce stuff off of me. But to answer your question, no, it's really not computer niche. So I generally would rather just give you advice instead of making a dedicated video on that. So I hope that answers your question. And it looks like we got Lorena in the chat. My friend Lorena, buenas tardes, chica, my good friend. Let's see, Miss Benitez, Michelle, hello, good afternoon. All right, so enough of the pleasantries. Thanks everybody for showing up. Now, ironically, this first thing that I was going to talk about was not in my original script for this video. It actually happened when I was preparing for this live stream. And what happened was, I was getting everything all squared away, getting my notes, my prep, and all that stuff. And just then, while I was in the middle of all that, my computer, boom, power completely out, everything, lights, computer, the whole house, just boom, for like 5 minutes. And of course, I didn't follow my own advice and save now, save often, because I was just in a, my brain was ready to get started and get this going or whatever. So I wasn't thinking. And of course, I usually don't have these kinds of problems. And I did. So the thing I'm showing you on screen is what everybody should invest in. This one particular is made by APC. It's a UPS battery backup. And basically all it is just like what you would consider a surge protector that you can get at Walmart for $10 that protects you from lightning strikes and power spikes and things like that. What this one does, it actually has a built-in battery. So if you have, say, your computer's plugged into it, now this one I think is maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes of battery backup. But the upside is, like in my situation yesterday where the power went out for 4 or 5 minutes, my computer would have never turned off because it was being backed up by this thing right here. So I know I should have one, and you'd think the computer guy would have them all over the house, but I generally don't follow my own advice. So this is definitely something that I would check out for the average consumer. It's about 50 bucks on Amazon. I got a link to the one I recommend down in the description if you want to check that out. You can get them. They come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. I mean, you can get some that give you 3 minutes of backup. You can get some that give you 2 hours of backup. And um, for most people, $50 is a reasonable price, especially if you factor in that not only will it allow you to keep your computer running, if you have a power outage or a power surge. And power surges can do just as much damage. If you've ever seen your lights in the house blink or dim, but they don't go off, that's just a low voltage going through your electrical line. And that actually can cause more damage than a complete power outage. So this regulates that power, keeps your computer and any other devices that are plugged into it, keeps it running and keeps it at a steady voltage so you don't cause damage to your computer. So ironically, the power outage ended up being the first thing I wanted to talk about because it absolutely is a lifesaver. And yeah, Nico, like, oh, sorry, where it goes. There we go. Definitely get a UPS. And this guy, he's been doing this just as long as I have. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Hey, there's my friend Darren, D-Rock, my brother. Y'all say hi to Darren. He's one of my oldest, dearest friends. And when I mean old, I mean old. I'm just playing. So let's see. Detonate says they're great to have to plug into any device such as TVs, computers, routers, or any other device that can be expensive to replace if they're damaged. That's a great point. People will go out and spend $1,500, $2,000 on a TV and put a $5 surge protector on it, or what people know as a power strip. And that's just crazy. If you have a problem, that thing's gonna, if you get smoked, boom, you're done. And spend 50 bucks, guarantee that you're not going to have a problem. And the way I look at it is this: if you care about it, put a little money into protecting it, because if and when it happens, and it happened to the computer guy yesterday, if and when it happens, you're going to be like, man, that was the best money I ever spent. So definitely do that. Let's see. Nico, they make backups from $50 all the way up to thousands. If you go to $102, you get voltage regulation, etc. See, excellent. See, told you he was smart. So thanks for that one, buddy. And Darren, still younger than you. Yeah, that's true. 6 months, I think. Okay, Delta Squad, Windows 10 versus 11. Okay, I'm going to give you by the way, can everybody hear me okay? I don't know if my mic is too short or too close, too far. So if you can't hear me, let me know. If the sound's okay, cool, give me a thumbs up. Windows 10 versus 11. I'll give you the short answer on that. And Nico, Dana, feel free to chime in on this one because you both are experts as well. The only real difference between Windows 10 and Windows 11 is cosmetic. Unless you are a gamer or you have, if you do Xbox or anything like that, most of the stuff in Windows 11, and I actually made a video, you can check it out on my channel page. I did back in June or July of last year, I did a video about Windows 11 is coming. What does it mean for you? And what you basically are going to see in Windows 11 is cosmetic changes. Now, Microsoft has done, without getting into the weeds and really learning how, what all that techno mumble jumble stuff means. What basically Microsoft did is they made it easier for them to make money because they integrated the Play Store. They allowed creators, small time creators, they allowed them to basically add their games, things like that they would normally not be able to get entered into the Microsoft Store. Excuse me, not the Play Store, the Microsoft Store. Normally, you had to have pretty high credentials, be a big timer in order to get approved to go into the Microsoft Store. Well, what they decided to do with Windows 11 is they basically said, people like us, small creators who maybe created a cheesy game or something like that, they're allowing everybody now to contribute to open source stuff and things like that. And so Microsoft takes 17, Nico, check me on that. I think it's a 17% cut of all sales from the Microsoft Store. So you allow hundreds of thousands or potentially millions more people to put their products in your store. 17% of potentially hundreds of thousands more people makes Microsoft a lot more money. And the other thing with Windows 11, they released Windows 11 knowing that a lot of machines would not be able to support it. That's why they have those hardware requirements, the TPM and secure boot management, all that. So that forces people to go out and buy another computer, which has Microsoft Windows on it, which has a Windows license on it, which means Microsoft gets paid for it. So they're not stupid. As far as using it versus not, I wouldn't do it just to have it unless you've played with it and you went, yeah, it's okay. It's mostly cosmetic. Like I said, it's a lot of it is for the store. There's more integration with Xbox gaming platforms. There's a lot more stuff that you can do, but performance wise, there's zero performance increase. I've downloaded it, I've used it. I actually did a video on here's Windows 11, check it out. And I'm not going to do it. All things being equal, if there was a performance increase in Windows 11, let's just say that there was, okay? Even then, I still would not upgrade to Windows 11 until it had been out for at least a year and a half, 2 years, because anytime Windows releases, or excuse me, anytime Microsoft releases a new operating system, it's always buggy. And you'll hear people in the chat rooms all the time talking about Windows 11, start menu disappeared. They can't do Cortana. They can't they can't do anything at all. These are bugs. There's known issues. Now Microsoft's going to release them and patch them and push out updates. But why would you want to get an operating system that is known to have a bunch of issues? This is why, and for my Apple fans, I'm sure you guys will really appreciate this. This is why Apple spends so much time making sure that their OSs that they release have been thoroughly tested. So when you get your new Apple iOS or your Mac iOS, it's rock solid because it's been tested. Microsoft really doesn't do that. When they finish an operating system, they push it out to production and they figure we'll patch it later because they have the market. So anyway, long story short, and I know I didn't do a very good job of going short on that, but that's the reason I would not jump on Windows 11 yet. Okay. So I hope that answered your question. Like I said, it's not going to hurt you for sure. It's absolutely not going to hurt you. Just understand that you're going to have some issues with Windows 11. And, some people don't. Some people have no problems at all. And some people, it just doesn't work at all. So buyer beware. Okay. Now, like I said, if you want to, and let's see, now, Detonate asked a question here. Is it possible to get the Windows 11 look on Windows 10? I have seen talk of some customization tools, like they did Arrow Tweaker back in the day when Windows Arrow first came out, things like that. I don't know of any specifically. I'm sure if you Google it, you will find some, but buyer beware. What you find on Google, you just never know. But it would be interesting because honestly, that would be the ideal world. If you like the idea of the Windows 11 look with the rounded edges on the icons and the taskbar in the middle of the screen and all those things, that would actually be cool because you'd still have the Windows 10 performance at your core, but it wouldn't look like Windows 10. So see if you can figure that out and holler back at me. I'd like to know. I honestly haven't looked to be, it's not something that I don't particularly like it, to be honest with you. I mean, it just looks cosmetic-y, I guess, for lack of a better word. I'm just not crazy about it. So let's see. So Lorena says, I have not upgraded to Windows 11 and the system keeps prompting me to upgrade. Can I make the message go away? Yes. When you go into your settings, little gear icon just above your start menu, and you go into updates, you'll get a prompt saying your computer is eligible or can upgrade to Windows 11. There should be an option, and I can't remember exact verbiage on it, but it's something to the effect of remind me later or something like that. I don't know of any permanent removal of that. But like I said, if you're eligible now, and I think Windows 10 support ends in 2025, October 2025. Nico, check me on that. I'm pretty sure. Um, Before Windows 10 is no longer supported, if you are currently eligible for 11, you will still be eligible for 11 then. What I would recommend is if you still have the same computer then upgrade to Windows 11, because you'll still get the free upgrade. And by that point, they will have worked out all of the issues and the bugs that I spoke about earlier. And now the Windows 11 that you upgrade to will be a much more solid operating system, and you won't have to deal with calling the computer guy. So that's my answer for that. So Delta Squad says, I noticed worse performance with 11 than 10. And I've heard that too. I've heard that on some other channels as well. People were talking about that. So, like I said, the good news is if you upgrade to 11, and if you've ever seen a video about the Windows.old folder, if you ever seen it on your computer, when you go into your C drive, you see the users, and you see Windows, and you see Windows.old. What that is anytime there's a major feature update, a big update like 21H2, which is the new one, or Windows 11, in order to install Windows 11, Microsoft, the Windows operating system, actually takes all your Windows files and puts them in the Windows.old folder, and then puts the Windows folder as the new operating system or the new feature. So it gives you 30 days to roll back any major feature update. And if you've seen any of my videos where I show you, you can go in the troubleshooting menu where you can go in and remove feature updates or anything like that. What that does is that goes and takes the Windows existing, which is the new operating system, and replaces the Windows.old with the new, and puts you back to where you were. So you get 30 days with the Windows 11 update to roll it back completely to Windows 10 with no issues whatsoever. Now on day 31, you got to call a computer guy, or you're stuck with Windows 11. I don't know why they do that. They should allow, as long as you have space on the drive for the Windows.old folder, it shouldn't matter, but they give you 30 days, and that's what it is. So there you go. Let's see what we got. Nico, GP Edit can get rid of it. The group policy editor for sure. Nico, you got any videos about using group policy? Because I wouldn't mind touching on some of that too. That would definitely do it. Yeah, you can do everything with group policy. So Delta Squad, how do you get that pop-up thing for... Okay, so this one I'm actually streaming through Streamyard, not sponsored, but I've been doing my homework trying to figure out what's the best way to accomplish what I want for my streams. I could do YouTube directly, but it doesn't give me a lot of flexibility as far as adding pop-ups, things like that. I really love, especially with what I do, where I'm interacting with people, I really love being able to put somebody's comment on the screen so that everybody can view it. And that's a feature of StreamYard, which is pretty cool. And you can actually do, just so you know, and like I said, I'm not sponsored, but I'm already in love with StreamYard. For free, you can absolutely do StreamYard. What will happen, though, if you use the free version, you'll get this right up here. See the right here, the Powered by StreamYard, and you'll probably get that right here. Okay, so those features are not in the Pro version, which I did. Like I said, you can do for free just to check it out. If your visitors don't care about the logo, whatever, absolutely check it out. I think the Pro version starts at like about $25 a month. But since I'm doing this professionally, trying to grow my channel, I want to go ahead and reinvest in my channel. So I went ahead and did it. Just all these cool things I can do. So hope that answers your question. Can you manually downgrade? The easiest way to do that, if you're within that 30 days, that first 30 days, is to go through and remove that Windows 11. It's manual, but it's automatic. Once you select it, it automatically does its thing. Could you hack it down? I think, is that what you're asking? Delete this folder, do this. Yeah, I'm sure you could. That's really kind of beyond the scope. For me, it would make much more sense, since the original operating system on the computer was Windows 10. In this case, I could spend days trying to downgrade it by hacking folders and things like that. or back up my stuff, wipe it, and put the factory recovery partition, let that restore the Windows 10 like it came originally, and in half an hour, you're done. And then copy your files back over. You're ready to rock and roll. That's what I would do. So let's see. All right. Loretta says, just deselected Windows 11 upgrade notifications. Good deal. Good deal. Cool. All right. So, okay. So good question. Detonate. Say you're past the date. Can you take a Windows 10 bootable and reinstall Windows 10? Yes. Just like I said. Now, what you will have to do, you won't be able to do an in-place upgrade because, which is what most people know is like a reset or a refresh, because what that will do is that will look and see that the current operating system is 11, and it will say you have a new operating system. You can't replace these files because they're two different operating systems. But what you can do, as I said, is back up all your files, run that Windows 10 installation, and you absolutely can do that. And I made a video on that, on how to do that step by step. Let me pull that up here for you real quick so you can go check it out. Can't find it. Here it is. Okay. So let me show you this real quick. So there's the page right there. There's the, well, let me go back here. This video right here. You see that? I think there's supposed to be some kind of magnifying glass in here, but I can't find it. So this video right here, the blue one with the Windows icon, it's how to legally download Windows 10 for free. So you can go download that for free from Microsoft. It's 100% legal. Boot your system, but instead of doing a repair, you'll have to do what they call a custom installation. And what that will do is that will wipe all of your hard drive and it will install Windows clean. Okay. Now, before you do that, what you absolutely have to do is get your drivers backed up. Now, I'm actually in the process of working on a program called DriverMax that I recommend. Absolutely is amazing. Does it for free. Go to drivermax.com. It's the simplest way to do this. You could literally go here, check it out, download your drivers, creates a custom zip file full of your drivers as they are right now. And then what will happen is you can go ahead and do the Windows installation. And then once Windows is installed and you have 10, now you can go put DriverMax back on your computer, go restore, choose that restore file, and boom, all of your Windows 10 drivers, all the way down the list, almost zero effort. I've used DriverMax for years. Absolutely love it. It's a fantastic program. There is a pro version. The only advantage to the pro version is that you can, like when you're doing driver updates, you can do more than 2 drivers a day or more than 1 at a time. I bought the software. I pay for it like every year. And I think I may have a lifetime license on that. I bought it years ago before they changed the pricing structure, but it has saved me a gazillion times with customer computers that I work on. And I know I'm going to have to reinstall Windows on it. I run DriverMax, back it all up, put it on a flash drive, wipe Windows, pop it back in, download all the updates, walk away. And I come back and all the drivers are installed and it's just amazing. So definitely check that out. So I hope I didn't miss anybody here. Okay, so Delta Squad, what if you have no operating system on your PC? Good question. If it is a Windows 10 computer, like say it was a Windows 10 computer and you picked it up from a friend who accidentally wiped the drive, okay? Or it had Windows 10 on it and the drive went belly up, but you put a new drive in it and the system is you can use Windows 10 on it. You can absolutely follow those instructions, download the Windows 10 to a flash drive. As I explained, you'll need to do it on somebody else's computer, obviously, but you can then boot to that flash drive, install Windows 10, and you won't even have to activate it because the Windows 10 licensing is embedded in the hardware. They don't use the old 25-digit product keys. They don't use those anymore. It's all embedded into the BIOS, into the hardware. So if it recognizes that it legitimately had a legal copy of Windows 10 at one point, you can put Windows 10 on it all day long. And ironically, you could probably, if it's Windows 11 capable, you could put the 10 on it. And during the Windows updates, you might even be able to go ahead and download the Windows 11. So put the Windows 10 on it first and find that out. Okay. So Nico says, Driver Max, new one for me. Yeah, hey, look, man, I learned so much from you. I'm glad I could share the wealth there. All right, so Darren, recommendations for external CD-ROM drives. I have, it's in here. It's in my junk pile somewhere. That I have a HP external. Now I bought it years ago, back when CD and it was like one of the first external DVD drives. I think I paid about 60, 70 bucks for it 10 years ago. I've seen similar drives like that at Walmart for 30 bucks all day long. Now, I don't usually even mess with those because most people don't use CDs or DVDs now. But most of the laptops that are coming out now um, don't have CD and DVD drives, and a lot of us have stuff like, you may have a disk full of software, or family photos or whatever that occasionally you want to pop in. So I would definitely check Walmart. Like I said, I know they have them. You may have to order it from Walmart.com, but I think the last couple times I've been in there, I've seen them, and they're going to be between 25 and 50 bucks. Absolutely. So let's see. Detonate. If you have no operating system, then you can just use a bootable drive with your desired OS, install it there. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. And keep the drive for future uses. So. Right, a good point here. There's also Windows keys that are linked to your Microsoft account, so you can log in your Microsoft account and it will activate it then. So yeah, excellent point. Okay, so seeing, I think I got all of the initial questions. If you guys have any for me that I haven't answered, then just go ahead and ask the question again. And as you can see in the banner here, so I'm going to go through some of the rest of these frequently asked questions. If you guys have a question regarding that specific one that I'm talking about, go ahead and ask it. If it's something else unrelated, kind of like the questions we've been doing now, go ahead and just save it to the end, and I'll open it up for Q&A, and you guys can just hammer me with questions. But I want to go ahead and get these out of the way, or I'll never get to them. So now the second thing, the second question that I get a lot, and this is almost daily: should I leave my computer on or turn it off at night? Okay. Now, you guys will, if you've watched any of my videos, my most common answer is it depends. So I'll give you both sides of the coin, because I generally try to, when I'm talking to my customers, I'm like, okay, well, let me figure out your situation, because what works for me doesn't work for you, or it might work for you. So I try to give everybody all different angles and let them decide. So on the question of whether you should turn your computer on or off at night, a lot of it depends on, one, how many times throughout the day are you going to go back and forth? Okay. So if you're a busy mom and you wake up in the morning, you have your, you get your morning coffee, you got your quiet time before the kids get up, and you want to use your computer for a little bit, check your social media, whatever. Okay, the kids are hollering, it's time to get up. You get away from the computer. Now it's going into mommy mode. Okay. But then, okay, you got the kids, they're sitting in front of the TV, they've got their snacks. Okay, well, maybe you can go back to the computer. Well, an hour or so has gone by. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to turn a machine off and back on just for that limited amount of time. Okay. So the one thing I will almost always tell everybody is that if you're going to be away from your computer, regardless of how fast your computer is or how often you use it, if you're going to be away from it for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours or longer, say you're leaving for work, you're not going to come home until 5 o'clock. Okay. You're going out of town. Okay. Whatever. If you're going to be away from it, you're going to bed. A lot of people wrap up, and when they go to bed, they don't get up again until 5, 6. There's no reason to have the computer running all night. Okay. Now, I run my computer 24 hours a day, which I shouldn't, but I have so much stuff going on. I've got emails and all the notifications, social media, and all this stuff. And I've got my editing program. Like I'll edit a video and I'll just stop for the night and pick it up in the morning. I don't want to have to open my computer back up, open all those individual programs again, open and import this. It's just a big nightmare. Now, I have pretty decent machine. It's about 10 years old, but I've been upgrading it over the years. So it's got a lot of performance. Now, what I do is I definitely enable my screensaver, and I also enable screen timeout. So after a certain amount of time, my screens will go off, mainly because I don't want to sit and look at them all night. But all I have to do is move my mouse and boom, they come right back. So that's what I do. Okay. Now, if you have a slower computer, um, 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever, that, generally, if you can go make a pot of coffee and come back before the computer comes up, it's absolutely crazy to restart your computer, shut down your computer, and then restart it. Okay. Put it into sleep mode if you dare, which that's actually the second part of this question. I don't like sleep mode or hibernation, and I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. The best thing you can do is just turn on your screensaver and enable your monitor to turn off. And that way it looks like it's off, but all you have to do is move the mouse and boom, it comes right back up. And now you don't have to spend 10, 15 minutes waiting for it to come back up. And then if you were to try to do that multiple times a day, it would just be nerve wracking and you'd want to throw the computer in the street. So don't do that. Now, to address the sleep and hibernation, and a lot of people in the industry we kind of 50-50 on this. Sleep and hibernation are basically low power modes that are built into Windows that either put your system into a low power mode or basically freeze everything but turn your computer off. Both of them suck. Just gonna put it out there. Okay. What happens is, and matter of fact, I had this just this week. Client calls me, says, I was using my computer. I went and got a shower. I came back. The little lights blinking on my laptop, it won't come back on. And I was working on a paper that I didn't save. It was a college student. She was working on some kind of thing. Anyway, she didn't save it. So she's freaking out. And I told her, I said, well, it sounds like what happened is your machine went to sleep. And sometimes the machines don't come out of sleep. That's not by design. That's just hardware for you. So what I tell people, unless, put it this way, if there's nothing on the computer that you're worried about, in other words, if you're not working on something, you're not in the middle of a big download, if you're not working on a document or something super important, something that if it stopped immediately would be a problem, if you're not doing any of that, then yeah, put it in sleep mode and don't worry about it. But as a general rule, it's better just to let the screensaver, or not even necessarily, I don't do the screensaver. I do the monitor, just turns the screens off. And, but that's because I'm going back and forth all day long. And like I said, what works for me doesn't necessarily work for everybody else. So, just be aware that if it goes into suspend mode, the only way to get it out, and matter of fact, this happens so much, I even brought, it's like show and tell. So what you have to do, if it goes into suspend mode, you have to remove the battery. Okay. Once the battery is out, then you have to press and hold your power button for 15 to 30 seconds. Then you can plug it back in, or preferably your battery and the AC power. And then generally it will resume from sleep. When you hold the button in for 30 seconds, what you're doing is you're clearing out the memory on the computer, on the motherboard. That memory is what's holding the sleep. Okay. So if it can't release it, manually holding the power button down will, boom, allow it to boot back up. And you might get a message about the machine wasn't shut down properly or something like that. But what will happen is your computer will come back up. Now, the downside is if you're working on something, you've lost it. So that's the trade-off. So again, that's another reason why I don't ever put my machine into sleep mode. I just use the monitor going off and I'm good to go. Okay. So let's see. Detonate. Is there a way to have your computer shut off after, say, Steam finishes updating, downloading games, or other stuff? Okay. So, all right. If a program has an option, like a defragmentation program, a lot of defragmentation programs have this to where you can just turn it loose, but there'll be a checkbox that says shut down the computer when you're done. And I'm not a gamer, so I'm if anybody's a gamer in the chat, holler in the chat and correct me, please. unless there's an option there to do that, I don't know of an easy way to specifically target one program to automatically shut down. Now, what you could do as an option, if you know, like say for example, you know the download is going to be, if you know the download is going to be another hour, okay, but you're leaving for the weekend, or say 2 hours, there are programs out there that you can schedule. And I know Nico's going to tell me you can do this all in the back end and the pop, but I'm trying to make it simple. There are easy download programs that you can do that will schedule a reboot for you. So you can just literally download it, say reboot at say 6 p.m. When you started the download at 1, you know by 6 p.m. it will be done. 6 p.m. the program restarts or shuts down your computer and you're good to go. That's what I would do. Like I said, I try to make things as simple as possible. I mean, there's techie ways to do everything. And Nico is absolutely, that's the guy to talk to if you want to know how to hack that out. For me, it's just as easy to find something on Google that does exactly what I want. I can download it in 30 seconds and walk away and go do something else. But you could do that. Okay. So let's see. All right. Now, this was a question that was asked before this chat started, so I'm just going to go ahead and address it. We had a mouse that's acting wonky on a laptop, the little slidey thing, the touchpad. I had recommended removing the driver and letting Windows reload it. So Delta Squad, I'm trying to install the mouse driver on the laptop. The problem, according to the device manager, there's two mice. Which one do I pick? Generally, your touchpad is going to say something like Synaptics touchpad or something like that. Usually when it refers to an HID device, it's referring to an external mouse. Try both. If there's one that says touchpad specifically, that's the one. If you're still not sure, go to the website. So it's a Dell or whatever. Go to that website, look up your model number or serial number, go and download the actual mouse driver and install it as a package instead of letting Windows update it. That will guarantee that you're going to put the correct driver in there. And then even if it conflicts with whatever Windows thought it was installing, it should work. Okay. So that's what I would do. Now it could be a possibility because it's all built in, the keyboard and mouse and all that. It could be that it's just something faulty in the circuitry, which case a replacement keyboard or top cover, depending on how your laptop is laid out, that would take care of it too. But most likely it's a software issue. What I would try is booting into safe mode also. If you can get into safe mode and your touchpad works fine, then you have a Windows problem, not a mouse problem. So, okay. So yeah, no, PS2s are the round connectors. So, unless you have a PS2 mouse, which means you have a really, really old laptop, unless you have a PS2 mouse, that's not the one. Okay. So the second thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was obviously the leaving the computer on, hibernation, whatever. It just depends. Every situation is unique. As a general rule, if it's going to be more of an inconvenience to sit and wait for the computer to come back up, leave it on. If you have a super fast machine, it's all SSD drives, and it only takes a couple seconds to boot back up, and you're more concerned with power conservation, which a lot of people are. If you're more concerned with power conservation or the hardware usage on your computer, if your computer's not running, that hardware is not running. If that hardware is not running, then theoretically it should last longer. Now, anybody who's done this for 6 months or longer knows that there is absolutely no truth in that. Drives and screens and keyboards fail when they're going to fail. But the analogy I give all my customers when they ask me about that is like, okay, if you left your car in the driveway running 24 hours a day, it would still probably last you a few years, but it's not going to last you 15 or 20 years like it normally would if you shut it off properly and let it, do all its things. So, like I said, it's really more of a personal preference than anything else. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and I get this question quite frequently, is free software, good or bad? Well, Most of what I use is free software. I mean, I can look on this screen right here just to show you. Caliber for ebook management. Media Player Classic is the only media player I'll use because it plays everything. A lot of people love VLC Media Player because it's a very useful too. Handbrake, use that. Recover, I actually did a YouTube video about how to use Recover to, uh, to recover deleted files. Oops, sorry, wrong screen here. So let's see, CCleaner, I use that on almost every computer I work on. Defragler, same thing. I use that all the time. These are all 100% free programs. I recommend OpenOffice to everybody. My buddy Nico turned me on to LibreOffice, which I didn't even know was any good, to be honest with you. I just didn't care for it the first time I tried it, but it has changed so much. Um, so matter of fact, I did another video about Microsoft Office versus Open Office. You could pay for one or have a free one. Well, to me, the free works just as good. So when it comes to free programs, I'll give you an example. Okay. One of the free programs that I use every day, matter of fact, the thumbnail that you saw for this video was because of this. Photopea. What is it? It's basically Photoshop online for free. Everything you need to do that you can do in Photoshop, you can do in Photopea. Who would have thought, right? So, I use OpenOffice for creating documents, spreadsheets, things like that. I use all the free programs. Now, does that mean that a paid program isn't worth it? Well, sometimes it is. I've paid for programs that weren't worth paying for. I've also had free programs that I've used that were so good and so helpful that I've out of pocket donated to the creator of the program to show them how much I appreciate their free software and making it free for me. So there is absolutely no, again, it depends, right? There's no definitive yes, no, free versus not free. Just always look for a free version first and see if it works. Perfect example, video editing. People use Premiere Pro. I use Filmora, which is a paid program. There is, Final Cut Pro. There's Sony Vegas. But one of the best programs for YouTube video creators is called DaVinci Resolve. 100% free. Absolutely. Now, you have to be a mechanical engineer to figure it out. It's got a very steep learning curve and way over my head. I just want point, click, simple. But some of the best creators you see on YouTube use DaVinci Resolve because their color grading and color correction in that free program is so much better than anything else that's paid for. That's what they focus on. Peter McKinnon is a perfect example. His stuff is, I don't know if you've ever seen Peter McKinnon, but he's just a ridiculously good YouTuber and his stuff is beyond ultra quality. DaVinci Resolve, he can do all of that stuff 100% for free. So, like I said, when it comes to free, look for a free program first, and then if you can find one that works for you, then go for it. But if the paid version should be the last resort, unless somebody says, "Here's what you need, and it costs this much." But I always tell people I'm always going to look for free first. Okay, so hope that covered that. Oh, hey, cool. Delta Squad restarted. Everything's working fine. Fantastic. So I won't have to send you a bill, right? So just play it, man. I'm glad that's working. So yeah, Lorena says she's used my videos to install free apps. And if it crashes, she knows. She's a friend of mine. She knows how to reach me. But I've always told her, I was like, look, there are free alternatives out there. Absolutely, for sure. So just always start with free. I mean, why would you want to pay for something if you could do it just as well free? But the difference is when you find a quality product that is actually good and does what you need it to do, and it costs money, pay for it. The creators spend a ton of time writing these programs. I mean, it's not something just everybody can do. So the time and effort that they spend in making your life easier is got a dollar value to it. And if you appreciate it, if you do the free trial and the trial works, full version, but then you have to pay for it. Well, if it helps you, do that. Okay. So, speaking of free software, almost downloaded a free emulator and found out it was a virus. Yeah, that's a good point. Is not everything that is free. Yeah, WinRAR is the same way. WinRAR is free. It's NAGware. You can use it for free for the next 1,000 years, but it's going to pop up a screen telling you, we'd really like you to buy it. WinZip did the same thing. And then they started making it to where you had to wait so many seconds to unzip your file. That's why everybody started using WinRAR. A lot of people use 7-zip, which is free. And it's just, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. If it's a good quality program, pay for it. Simple as that. But you don't necessarily have to go that route right off the bat. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is startup items. You might have experienced a time where it just seems like after you've used your computer after so long, it's just like it just gets slower and slower. And that's why I hear this every day. I ask and they're like, well, no, it's not something that just happened. It seems like over time, it just gets slower and slower and slower. And then I'll go look in their startup and I'll see something like this. Okay. Now, in this case, they've got, there's a bunch of items. I hope you guys can see. Let me switch the screen so you can see the whole thing. See, like Microsoft OneDrive is disabled. Microsoft Teams is enabled, which means every time Windows runs, Teams is going to run. Autodesk enabled. The audio services, those are okay, but then Killer Control Center, that's enabled. It's Adobe Updater. Why do you need Adobe Updater every single time you turn on your computer? And then another Adobe tool. These are things that you can remove from the startup that are going to make a big difference in the speed at which your Windows desktop loads. Okay. So now to do that, what you want to do, let me show you real quick here. The easiest way, Windows 10, let me turn this banner off, sorry. Should probably hide that. Okay, so in Windows 10, all you got to do is just right click on your taskbar, go to Task Manager. Okay, when Task Manager comes up, there's a Startup tab right here. You just click Startup, and you can even sort by enabled versus disabled. And you'll see in my example, the only things I have enabled are Super Copier, which I use instead of the default Windows copy tool because it sucks. I use Greenshot, which is very, very small. It's a free program. So is Super Copier. Greenshot lets me do super quick screen capture. So I can click it, go boom, 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 save it. So sometimes like when you want to save something real quick, there's even hotkeys in that you can do. Anyway, so I do that. Samsung Rapid Mode, which is for my SSD drive, just to make sure it's staying healthy. My Realtek Audio Manager, my Avast Antivirus, Realtek Audio, and everything else is disabled. Cortana, Skype, Delay Plugin, my Catalyst Control Center for my video, my on-screen video, that's disabled because I don't use it every time. If I need to use it, I'll open it. But, I don't use it every single time. So why would I? Wondershare, which is Filmora, which is what I use for editing. It tries to load and start up, and I don't want it to run every time the computer runs. So I disabled it. Same with Google Drive. I don't use it every day. iTunes, as soon as you install iTunes, it puts itself right back in your startup. And you can go through and just right click on each item and select disable. Okay. And as you can see, like with mine, it's the majority of mine are disabled. Okay. But the only caveat here is if you're not sure what it is, don't disable it. Okay. So for example, if I disabled my audio manager, that might, since I have two, I actually have this. I think this is the audio service. This is the actual icon that sits by my clock down here. This one right here. Okay. So I could probably right click. I could probably disable that. It'd be okay. I'd still have sound. I just wouldn't have that little speaker icon that I like. So if you're not sure, don't disable it. Like iTunes, what iTunes is. It's not some Windows thing. It's iTunes. Everybody knows what it is. You could right click and disable it. Okay. Skype, same thing. Okay. So if you're not sure, like I have Windows Security, Windows Defender right here. You can see I have it disabled. Why? Because I have Avast Antivirus. I don't need Windows Defender. Therefore, I don't want Windows Defender to run. Okay. Just by disabling those things alone by yourself, you can speed up the performance and the boot up speed of your computer. Try it. It's going to shock you how much faster it is than what it was before. I mean, it's crazy, right? Give it a shot. The worst thing that happens is something that you're used to doesn't work. And then you just simply go back into the task manager, re-enable it. You're good to go. That's it. No problem. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk to you about, after I scratch my nose, the next thing I want to talk about is warranties. Now, I get these kinds of questions all the time, and that picture right there just makes me cringe when I see it, because I've got a laptop sitting there in the boneyard right now that had tequila and various other substances spilled on it. Of course, that violates your warranty. So I want to explain to you a little bit about how warranties work, and just so you understand going forward, because as before, it depends. Okay. So every computer you buy right off the bat from the manufacturer, I don't care whether it's a Dell, Gateway, HP, Sony, Toshiba, whatever, Acer, Asus, whatever, they all, if you buy them brand new, every single one has a 1-year mandatory manufacturer's warranty. Okay. What that covers is hardware damage. So in other words, you have this machine that you bought 3 months ago from Dell. Okay. All of a sudden, it doesn't turn on, no power. Okay. It's within that 1-year warranty. You could pick up the phone, you could call Dell, say, my computer won't power on. Now, hopefully it's not a hibernation or suspend issue. Hopefully it's a legitimate power problem. Okay. Say the motherboard just goes belly up. You call support, they walk through all their individual steps on what to do to fix it. None of those steps work. They say, you have a warranty problem. Okay. So they file a claim, and depending on the warranty that you purchased, okay, you either mail it off to them, and you might get your computer back in 2 or 3 weeks. And if you have data on your hard drive that you haven't backed up, it is well worth it to call somebody that, like me, that knows what they're doing, to get that drive out, back up your data. Because a lot of times what will happen is, and I know this because I worked for the IBM Repair Center and Gateway tech support. So I know this happens. What will happen is they'll take a computer in, determine that cost-wise, it just makes more sense just to send a brand new one out. It's already packaged. It doesn't cost them labor and anything like that. And they'll just send you a new one. And your old one will end up in a pile somewhere with all your files on it. Now, the good news is you get a new computer. Your warranty will not start over from that point. It continues from the date of original purchase, but it covers anything, your screen goes out, or your mouse, like Delta was having the problem with the mouse. If it was under warranty, that is a warrantable item. Okay. Now that goes up to the first year of ownership. So whatever day you bought the computer, if you bought it December 22nd of 2022, December 21st of 2023, your warranty will expire. Now, anytime in that first year warranty, you can go, when you register your computer, which you absolutely should do, when you go online and register your computer, you can extend that warranty an additional year, a third year, sometimes even a fourth year. What I tell people when it comes to stuff like this, 2 things: buy as much warranty as you can afford. And remember, when you're buying a computer, you're buying a warranty and you get a free computer with it. And any of my clients who are on the broadcast know, if they see this, they'll be like, yep, he's told me that a dozen times. You're buying a warranty and you get a free computer with it. Okay. If you think of it that way, yes, you could go from 512 gig hard drive to a 2 terabyte drive for an extra $100. Or 512 gig drive is more than enough for you. Spend that extra $100 on a 2nd year warranty. Think about that. Because if it breaks, and it's not a matter of if it breaks, it's when it breaks. Okay. All computers break. I've got 150 computers in there, in my boneyard that are, most of them are just out of warranty. When the computer breaks, if you're under warranty, you pick up the phone, you're done. Now, you're a little inconvenienced. You might have to pay somebody to get your files, but you don't have to pay for computer repair. Okay. If you are the type of person that doesn't really keep anything on their computer, doesn't really care, I mean, you're generally going to just go get a new computer. If you can go buy a new one for $300, well, okay. Stick with the 1-year warranty. If it lasts you longer than 1 year, cool. If it doesn't, go buy you another one. Off you go. You're good to go. So again, it depends. Now, regarding this problem, when you purchase your warranty, when you purchase your computer, let me rephrase. When you purchase your computer, you get the 1-year manufacturer's warranty, which covers all the parts. It does not cover this. Okay. If you spill liquid on it, that is an instant warranty violation, unless you pay extra for what's called accidental damage. And again, this goes back to the it depends argument, because people say, should I spend that extra 60, 70 bucks per year? I'm effectively, instead of getting 2 extra years of warranty, I'm really only getting 1, but I'm getting an accidental damage plan. Well, again, it depends. If your computer sits on a desk outside of your kitchen, there's no small children, no pets, and it just sits there, it's never going to get knocked off. No, that's wasted money. No, there's nothing that's going to accident. I mean, unless you get into a, throwing stuff around the house. No, it's just going to sit there. It's not going to accidentally get damaged. Now, if you drink like I do in front of your computer, yeah, it might make more sense to do that. But if you have a college student, if you're buying a laptop for a college student, I have a friend of mine who actually asked me about this question. Which computer do I get for my daughter? I said, well, get the least expensive one you can afford, buy as much warranty as you can afford with accidental damage, because I've been to college, dorm parties happen, laptops get thrown around, people put their pens and pencils inside the screen and they close and whatever, and sometimes screens get shut. All this stuff happens, in which case it's covered under your accidental damage plan. So it's definitely something to consider. But again, it depends. I have a client who has a child with I think it's MS, and they have trouble with motor function and whatever. And I explained to them, I was like, they've gone through several screens already. And I explained to them, I'm like, look, you need to, when you buy your next computer, you need to buy it with an accidental damage plan, because it's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when. So again, it depends on your circumstance. For mom and dad who sit around the house and don't do anything all day, they don't need it. If you're a college student, or you are using this laptop as a work tool, like maybe you got one of those convertible laptops that work as a tablet, absolutely, definitely get the damage plan, because you're going to drop it. I drop it. It's going to happen. So think ahead and don't say it's never going to happen to me, because it'll happen to you. I promise. Okay. So the next thing that I want to address, and this question is literally daily for me. I've got a problem with my computer. Do I fix it or replace it? Okay. Let me guess. It depends. Okay. If you have a computer that, this is what I tell my clients, and this is about the best way I can explain it. When your computer is working properly, normally, are you happy with it? Does it do what you need it to do for the 5, 6, 10 things that you do? If your computer works properly, when your computer is working properly, are you happy with it? If the answer is yes, then fixing it's going to cost certainly less than a new computer. If you're still not happy with the computer, no matter how fast it is, go get a new one. Simple as that. But the catch is that you're going to spend $400 on a new computer, let's just say. Okay. If you don't have any data on the computer, no big deal, right? You don't have to back anything up or anything like that. Okay. And if you know how to back up to a flash drive or whatever and can do your own backup, then that's even more money you saved. If you know how to set up your computer, connect it to wireless, connect it to a printer, all that stuff, yes, absolutely. You could certainly just knock all that stuff out yourself, and then you're really only out the cost of a new computer. Matter of fact, I actually did a video about this exact thing. Where is it? I can never find them. I can never find them when I'm looking for them. And it goes through and addresses each of these specific problems and gives you a rough ballpark on, by the way, that's sleep versus hibernation that we talked about earlier, for anybody who was still stuck on that. For anybody who is interested, you should definitely watch this video, because you will learn very quickly whether or not you have the ability to fix your own computer. A lot of people think they can, and then when they start doing it, then it's like, I may have bitten off more than I can chew. Now, the good news is you can generally, here it is right here. Fix your PC or replace. You should watch that video. That goes in and it breaks down. Here's what a typical computer would cost. Here's what a typical extra warranty is going to cost. You might, depending on the operating system, you might have to go get a new printer, because your printer is maybe not compatible with your new operating system. If it's an old printer, it might not work on Windows 11. Okay, well, now you got to go buy another printer. So it factors all those things in versus typical repair costs, and versus whether you got to pay somebody to back up your stuff or you can do it yourself. So it kind of weighs the pros and cons, and that video actually really is helpful to know whether or not it's something that is going to make sense for you. So Nico, sorry, I just saw that. I guess that's from the startup. Yeah, I have no idea what Killer Control Center is, man. That's like, I saw that and I was like, okay. Delta Squad, good question regarding the thing we were just talking about. The accidental damage does not cover viruses. It covers zero user behavior. Think of it this way: accidental damage is simply that. If you accidentally break a screen, if you accidentally drop your laptop and the charging port is broken off or wonky now and your laptop won't charge, if you caused it. I'm picking on you, Delta. Now I'm just playing. If it's something the user caused, then it's accidental damage. Okay. But it only applies to hardware. Okay. If you go download a virus that wipes Windows, it's not covered. It's not covered under either warranty. Okay. It's not a warrantable item. The regular hardware warranty covers manufacturer parts and labor. Okay. To get your computer in the state that it was in when you first bought it. The accidental damage is for something that you did and you own that, but you paid extra for it because, I call it the klutz warranty. I'm a klutz. I'm going to drop it. Okay. Just like my cell phone. How many times a day do I drop it? It's kind of that mentality. So no, it doesn't cover anything software. And hopefully that answers that question. Okay. So let's see. I thought I saw another question here. Okay, you guys talk about bots. That's out of my league. So, okay. So as far as the fix and replace, that's it. You have to really factor in, and I always tell people, I was like, look, I'm spending your money. It's not my money. It's your money. Okay. So when it comes to whether I'm not going to tell you, go buy another computer. Some people will. Computer repair shops are in the business of selling you product. They have a computer for sale. Well, of course, they're going to say, you need a new computer. I don't sell computer products. I mean, I don't as a living. I do sell occasionally if I get one that I can rehab for somebody and sell. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll give away computers to, underprivileged kids or families that might need something. I don't make money selling computers. I make money fixing computers or giving people guidance on, like in today's video, on how to be a better computer user or how to be smarter about the computers. Because ultimately, People don't realize this. They are way smarter than their computers. Computers are dumb. They only know what we tell them to do. So, but it's because it's not something that someone feels like they're an expert at. People feel stupid. And so that's part of the reason why I built this channel. It's the whole purpose of Ask Your Computer Guy. I wanted people to feel like they had power over that stupid little box, because that box is dumb as a bag of hammers. It only does what I tell it. Nothing that's on my screen right now would work unless I made it happen. So what I do is I try to teach people how the 5 things they do. Let's teach you how to do those 5 things. And then when it comes to those things, you will feel like an expert. There's Nico will tell you. Ask him. He talks stuff all day long. Way over my head. I mean, way over my head when it comes to malware and cybersecurity and all that. It's not that I wouldn't want to know, but I don't know, and I don't care enough to learn that part of it. What I do know is how to scan for bugs. Nico knows how to take those bugs and reverse engineer them and spit them back on the bug sender, which that's why I love him, because that's what he does. Nico and I have become quite good friends on YouTube, because he doesn't do break fix. Okay. That's all I do. I know enough to be dangerous in his world, and he knows enough to be dangerous in mine. And so we kind of connected that way. And he's a great friend. And like I said, but he will start talking sometimes, and it's like running through a forest. I just want to see that bug right there. Oh, that's a bug. Gone. Hey, look, everything's fixed. Problem solved. Give me a check. Nico, he's more of the educational side of it. But I probably do some stuff that, well, like even earlier when he talked about, he didn't even know about that particular program. See, so I can teach him stuff and he teaches me stuff, but I don't feel stupid because I don't know what he knows. The things I know how to do, I'm an expert at. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind, is you don't have to know how to do everything to be computer savvy. But people label themselves computer stupid, and that's wrong. There are people out here. There's people out here, I guarantee you, in this chat room right now that know how to do QuickBooks. Just as an example, okay? It's made by Intuit. So, everybody knows what QuickBooks is, right? I know what QuickBooks is. I can download it. I can register it. I can download it. I can install it. I can register it. I can import your company file. I can create your user accounts. I can do all that stuff. Ask me how to use it. And I'm dumb as a bag of hammers. Does that mean I'm not computer savvy? No, it just means that one particular thing I'm not that good at, but I am at other things. So get it out of your mind that you're computer stupid. There is no such thing. Okay. Everybody knows how to do something pretty well, even if it's social media. Okay. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So the next thing I want to say, Detonate says, y'all are the best of both worlds. Yeah, I feel like that all the time when I talk to him, because I'm like, thank God this guy is like, he has answers that I don't. So, and Michelle, there you go. When I feel stupid, I ask your computer guy. I love her. She's great. She's great. Let's see. So yeah, Nico, excellent point. Our job, I'm going to read this professionally. Our job as tech experts is to make tech work for the average user. It isn't their job to know everything. It's the tech industry's job to make it work for them. Could not have said that better myself. That is absolutely perfect. I don't need to know all these other things. What do you do? Let's make those things work. End of story. Windows can do a billion things, but if you only need to know 100 of them, are you stupid because you don't know the other 900 million? No, look at it that way. So, Lorena throwing me some compliments here. Then she's partial because she's a friend of mine, but Ask Your Computer Guy is real. He will not BS you. He'll straight up tell you if he knows or not. Truly appreciate it. Thank you, Lorena. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you've trusted me to fix your computer several times. So thank you for that. So the next thing I want to talk about today, backups. Okay. Now, some people go, am I supposed to back up? And yes, you are supposed to back up. Now, there's a caveat to that. Okay. So it's going to require a little coffee. Hang on. In my opinion, the worst thing you can do is back up in real time. Now, one of my favorite programs is called Carbonite, which I absolutely recommend. The description, the link is down in my description. It's like $5-6 a month. It's automated backup. It's just when you make a change, boom, it goes up. You never have to worry about it. You never have to keep storage drives like this, anything like that. No flash drives, none of that, keeping up with it. Or if they break, if you have a portable hard drive like this that falls off a table, you just lost everything. It's horrible. And I actually have a backup story that I'll tell you it will tell you everything you need to know about what I was going to tell you. Okay. So I have a local client who has 7 or 8 computers in his house. His daughter's computer, his wife's computer, laptops, desktops, this, that, and the other. Okay. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, he went and bought a brand new, massive 2 terabyte hard drive. In his brain, it made more sense to take all the files off of each of the computers in the house and put them all in one central location, which was the main family computer. Okay, so if the daughter wanted to access her files, she could just go to the main computer and access her files, and so on and so forth, right? So he did all of this himself, backed up everything, didn't just copy it, took it off the computers, okay? Off of each individual computer. So now all the machines have no data on them except the one main computer portable hard drive. It wasn't even on the main computer. It was on the portable hard drive connected to the main computer. You see where this is going, right? Okay. That drive, about a week after he did this, clank, 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 clank. In case you didn't know, that's not a good sound. That means you have a problem with the read-write head inside the drive, and it's trying to read that hard drive, and it goes, I can't read it. I'm stuck. If it can't read that data on that drive, it can't access your files. So he took all of the family documents, all of the priceless pictures of grandma who was no longer with them, wedding photos, children's birth photos, priceless, irreplaceable documents, wills, testaments, things like that. Put it all on one drive. Absolutely the worst thing you could have done. Unfortunately, the drive, bad idea for sure. The worst thing he could have done. And I could not get the data off of it. I even tried replacing the circuit board, hoping I could get it open, running long enough to copy his files off of it before it went belly up, and I couldn't even do that. So I had to tell this poor guy that the gigabyte worth of data that he had on this drive was forever gone. Now, not entirely accurate. There are companies out there like Drive Savers and things like that that specialize in advanced drive recovery, data recovery, but they start in the thousands. I mean, you want to get just a few gigabytes, you're going to spend $3,000 or $4,000, but they'll get it. Your average computer guy is not going to be able to get it. We all do the same thing to repair those drives. We try to hook them up, see what data we can get before they go belly up. If that doesn't work, we have other tools that we can go and try to repair parts of the drive and hopefully extract data that's good. Sometimes that works. Then it's literally take the drive. I'll show you. You would literally take the drive, that circuit board right there, okay? That circuit board has to match that exact make, model, revision, version. Everything has to be identical. In other words, it basically had to come out of the same batch when this was made. But theoretically, you could replace that circuit board, and it's just a set of screws. But you could replace that circuit board, and if the electronics is the problem, you don't hear the drive, it just doesn't do anything. A lot of times it's the board. The board is fried. You replace it with another board, bam, the drive will work. Now, how long it works after that, there's no telling. But that's a good way to recover data. If you hear the clank, clank, clank clicking sound, you're done. So anyway, back to backups, okay? You can use a service like Carbonite, which is great. It does have the option to back up once a day instead of real time. I don't recommend real-time backups, and here is why, Okay. If you get, let's just say on Tuesday, your computer's working great. Okay. You go to bed, your stuff's backing up in real time. And while you're sleeping, you've left the computer on. While you're sleeping, a ransomware infection comes into your mailbox and executes itself. Maybe you have mail preview turned on and it automatically is going to load. You had nothing to do with it. It just, bam, automatically loads. Okay. That ransomware then takes all of your pictures, all your documents, all your videos, all your personal information, and encrypts it. And then you have a message on your screen saying, if you want your data back, to get the encryption or the decryption key, it's going to cost you 100 Bitcoin. Okay. Well, if you have a real-time backup enabled, as soon as those files are encrypted, they've changed. And a program like Carbonite sees that the file has changed. And what does it do? It doesn't know it's bad. It just knows it's a file that needs to be updated. So it instantly uploads it and overwrites Monday's good files. Okay. So I love Carbonite. Don't get me wrong. I love them. They're great. I would recommend them all day. I don't normally recommend pro paid software, but that's probably the best $6 a month you'll ever spend. With the caveat that when you install Carbonite, you tell it, you change it from immediate backup, which sounds cool on paper, change it from immediate backup to once a day, because most of us are not going to be away from our computer for more than 24 hours. If your computer is highly infected, you will know it before the next day's backup goes up to Carbonite, which gives you a chance to disconnect from the internet, have somebody wipe your machine or do it yourself. You can use one of my videos on how to do that. Wipe that computer, re-download Carbonite, log into Carbonite, say recover, and bam, all of your stuff's go all the way back down to your computer. Okay. So by doing that, one, you've protected your data from being permanently wiped. Two, you saved money having to call a computer guy. So that is definitely something that happens, and it happens a lot. Unfortunately, it happens a lot. So Vijaya, did I pronounce that right? Are VPNs safe? Yes, but it depends. You're going to hear that from me a lot. It depends means they are safe, but it depends on the level of security. Like Nico said here, matter of fact, excellent answer. They're safe, but the security, the privacy, and the provider, and how many servers they have, that doesn't really affect whether they're safe or not. But it will improve your speed for sure if they have multiple servers. But more importantly, what do you mean by safe? And nobody in here would do this for sure, but if somebody were to be someone who might be wanting to look at things on the internet that may or may not be legal, let's just put it that way, your VPN provider has to maintain a no log policy. Okay. Hands down, I don't care what the price is. I don't care how many servers they have. I don't care what they say on their website. If they do not have a zero log policy, keep looking. What that means, if they have zero logs, that means they don't know who you are. You're a customer. They can turn over billing records. They can show that if the government subpoenas your VPN, they can say, yeah, Nico's been a customer of ours for years. Well, we need to see what Nico's been looking at. Sorry, we don't keep up with that. We don't know what Nico looks at. Nico, I'm picking on you. We'll call it Kevin. We don't know what Kevin looks at. Kevin's a customer. We don't track Kevin because we don't maintain logs. Okay. Some of the shadier VPNs who are offering you 99 cents a month or, $2, a year or whatever, look real close in the what you get, because if they maintain logs of any kind and the government were to be pursuing Kevin, they could see he's a customer and they would have to legally turn over all those data logs from all of Kevin's surfing. Okay. Now, if Kevin was out doing things that normal people should not legally be doing, Kevin's going to jail because Kevin wanted to save a couple bucks. So now, what I will tell you, I use a VPN. I used to use Nord exclusively. Nico actually turned me onto that. They are fantastic. Um, I did have a couple little minor issues with them as far as my connectivity and things like that. So I actually switched because I found one a little bit cheaper. It's actually called PIA, Private Internet Access. It's a little cheaper and it seems to work better for me. But the point is they all, or at least those two for sure, have a zero logs policy. Now, does that necessarily mean that that's reserved for people who are doing things they're not supposed to be doing? No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're just using social media. It's more about people not seeing you ever. If my VPN says I'm in Romania and you try to hack me, good luck. As far as you're going to get is my VPN. Bam, it stops right there. Okay. So, and Nico has done several videos on this. Matter of fact, that's one of his channel sponsors. Yeah, here you go. NordVPN, ExpressVPN, PIA are the top three. They're all great. Pros and cons on each one. Absolutely, absolutely agree with that. I did a video. Matter of fact, I'll show you right here. I did a video 100 years ago. This one right here, how to disappear online. Oh, let me get rid of that. How to disappear online using a VPN. Okay. And what that video tells you is exactly what Nico and I are telling you. It's if you want to remain invisible, not just from hackers, but from the government. And we all know with tracking and, I mean, good Lord, you can't speak anything in your phone and it doesn't just pop up with ads about that thing. We all love it and hate it, right? So VPN is absolutely, for a couple dollars a month, it's just ridiculous not to. And if it keeps you from getting hacked one time, it's paid for itself. Absolutely. So that's something I would definitely keep in mind. Okay. Detonate. What did he say? I went to jail because I pirated pirates. Please tell me you're not serious. Did you? You didn't really? No. Because if you did you really? Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. I'm hoping you're kidding. I really am. Because if you're not, I want to talk to you more about that because I think that's hilarious. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about, and this is something I deal with. Okay, he says no, I was kidding. Oh, good, thank you. Whew. I was gonna say if you did go, you got out in record time. So pirates hasn't been out that long. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is printers. Okay, now I don't know if any of you have ever felt like this guy, but I have plenty of times. Now, when it comes to printers, so many people, I get asked all the time, like, should I go, I want to get my printer. Can you come look at my printer? And I say, well, all right, so here's the deal. Most printers you could replace regardless, even if they were just needing to be tweaked. Most printers you could replace. Most average printer, if you go to Walmart, you get a multifunction: print, copy, scan, and fax. Almost all the multifunctions do those four things. Okay. You're really just looking at photocopy and ink costs, really, is what determines why you spend this much on this one and this one on this one. Okay. But regardless of what your printer is, if it just stopped working, it's still cheaper to just go get a new one than it is to pay me $89 to come out and tell you need a new one. And then if you want me to set it up for you, now you've doubled the cost of the printer. So I made a video about this right here. This one here. Okay. It's called Don't Do This. You can see he's got a hatchet going through the computer or through the printer. It shows you step by step from beginning to end. If you have a printer problem, do this. If not, do this, do this, do this, do this. If it doesn't work, still go buy a new one. Okay. Don't go spending money repairing printers. Now, that being said, if you get into high-end printers, like, HP, like they made the 4300 that were this tall for the office. Everybody's got an office, like a Ricoh or one of those massive printers that spits out like 500 pages a minute and multi-collates and stuff. Those are different. Okay. I'm talking about consumer printers. Those big printers, if your company has one, you should have a printer service contract with a local company. Like here in the Memphis area, Nova Copy is a big one. MCC, they service these business printers. But I'm talking about your average Walmart printer that costs you $79, or the one I use, because I never print, I bought one for $35. I just bought the cheapest HP they had. It was 35 bucks because I only print maybe 6 pages a year. But when I need it to work. So I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on it. And if that one stops working, I'll just go spend another $35 and buy a brand new one. Okay. So when it comes to printers, don't pull your hair out and stress so much if it stops working. Now, there are things you can do. And like I said, in that video right here, you can check that out. That actually will give you, it's just a 6-minute video. It tells you what you can do, and it walks you through it step by step. Very simple. Remove this, do this, do this, do this. And then if you can do that and you still have the problem, then at that point, just go get another one. Don't spend the money. Don't waste your money. It's silly. Okay. So now this one I'm leery about, because nothing gets people more inflamed than the discussion of web browsers. Now, I'm going to tell you, full disclosure, I am a Firefox guy. Okay. I have my reasons for it, but boy, you guys are cracking me up in the chat room here. Printers, Nico, this is beautiful. Printers are a must if you want to share content with old people. That's good. I like that. Now, and Delta Squad talked about the ink is cheaper. There's something you guys want to check out. I'll post a link here. There is a website that I have bought back in the day when I used ink a lot. Inksell.com. I'm not affiliated with them. They don't even know I'm talking about them, but I personally can tell you they are amazing. Their product is just spot on. They're remanufactured cartridges, but they're made to industry standard. They ship it to you free, and they are usually about half the price of Walmart. Definitely check it out. Okay. So Lorena, thanks so much for popping in. I appreciate it. Everybody wave to Lorena. So yeah, Detonate, the Brother MFC, the multi-fun, those MFCs are amazing. I had I can't even remember what model it was, but I had a Brother MFC for 10, 12 years. And that thing was just a thoroughbred. I could not kill it. And then one day it just stopped working. But, and they're made even better now. But yeah, absolutely. You guys crack me up. He was talking about the browser wars. Nico, Netscape Navigator. That just tells everybody how old you are, because most people watching this probably have never even heard of Netscape. So anyway, when it comes to browsers, all right. And again, as most of my answers go, it depends. Okay. So I'm going to give you all the different scenarios so that you can kind of get an idea of whether or not it applies to you. Okay. For me, Chrome, because of all the recent, there's been a ton of hacks into a specific part of Google Chrome where they are constantly releasing these new updates to patch it. Okay. Now, the good news is they're recognizing it and patching it. The bad news is it's not patching itself. It's not. So that scares me a little bit. I use Firefox because, one, it has nothing to do with Microsoft or Google. Don't get me wrong. I like Google, but it is what it is, right? I like Firefox because it's faster, safer, not as hacked or hackable. And it was one of the first browsers that came out that allowed you to create a synchronized account. It's open source too. Yes, Nico, thank you for pointing that out. Totally open source. which means your average person can make improvements to it and release it for the public. So anyway, when Firefox first came out, I loved the fact that I could create an account, synchronize it, so I could pull up Firefox on my computer, and then I could go on my phone and pull up my surfing history, my passwords, all that stuff saved. And it's standard now in every browser. Microsoft Edge, Chrome, everything does it now. But Firefox was one of the first ones to do that, and I fell in love with it. The more I used it, the more I noticed how much Google Chrome was scary. Okay, because anything that is that damaged as far as needing to be upgraded and patched, like 16 times just in the last year. Okay. Firefox, when it needs an update, it pushes it and it updates it. You ain't got a choice. You open Firefox, it says, hang on, we're going to restart because we've got updates. Okay. I trust you. Google will let you use a Chrome browser all day. Until you click on update, it'll sit there, which means you're vulnerable. Right off the bat, that's no bueno for me. Okay. So just those two browsers alone, I'm going to tell you all day long, Firefox. It's what I install on my client machines. It's why, and I give them this exact spiel. I tell them this is why I prefer it. Now, if you want to keep using Chrome or Edge, and I know I'm leaving Opera and Safari out, but if you're an Apple user, then Safari is, that's what you use. And if you hate everything, you're going to use Opera. Detonate says, yeah, Chrome, an eater of RAM. That is absolutely true. You can actually go to, if you go to your task manager, because I actually have Google Chrome open right now for this session, okay? Because what I'm doing only works in Google Chrome, which don't get me started on that. But I have 4 Google Chrome tabs open right now. But look, see that? That alone tells you. Now, I do have 13 Firefox windows open, so that's legitimate. But yeah, 20 Google Chrome active sessions consuming disk resources, memory, all of that for 4 windows. Okay. So when it comes to whether or not that's a good browser to use, try what you want. If you just want something to be able to sync, Firefox works. If you want, but if you're the type of person that doesn't go clicking on a bunch of stuff, you're better off with Edge, actually. Edge is what us old folks used to call Internet Explorer back in the day. Microsoft improved it, but they could never improve it to a point where people weren't just crapping on it all day long. And so what happens is Microsoft said, well, we're tired of people talking smack about our amazing web browser, which, by the way, came with Windows, and they didn't get paid extra for it. So they had no incentive to create a better browser. And I'm not really sure why they do it now, but they got tired of everybody laughing at Internet Explorer. You've heard Internet Explorer. I can't even talk about Internet Explorer without saying Internet Explorer. That's how bad it was. So they rebranded it Microsoft Edge, threw some more security in there. And it is better for sure. 1,000 times better than Internet Explorer ever was. I will put Edge up against Chrome all day long. My preference is still Firefox. So I tell people between those 3, Firefox, Edge, Chrome. The only thing I use Chrome for is things like, for example, my YouTube Studio only works in Chrome. Okay. Well, I have a vidIQ plugin, but that plugin only works in Chrome. As soon as it stops working for Chrome, I'm not using it anymore. As soon as it works for Firefox, as soon as that's available in Firefox, I'm going back to Firefox. Chrome is the only thing that it works under, and so I have to use it. That's why I have 4 windows open, but 20 active sessions. So that'll kind of give you an idea. Now, each of those active sessions is consuming resources, okay? So when it comes to that, you just have to kind of be smart about which browser is going to make the most sense. So Detonate says, aside from the pros and cons, the browser depends on what works best for you. Somebody's grandfather who the only thing he does is he checks his AOL mail and he checks Yahoo Sports and he checks his headlines, doesn't even check. He's super zero low risk. So he could still probably use Chrome and be okay. But if he didn't want to use Firefox, Okay, fine. Use Edge or Opera or Safari, or there's hundreds of browsers out there. A lot of people don't know that, but there is a ton. Okay. So, and yeah, here's a good point. Vijay asked about Brave, which is becoming the new popular buzzword. You can always tell when I got something to say when I drink coffee before I speak. Brave is basically what everybody's like, oh, you should try this browser. Guess what? Nico nailed it. Brave is Chromium based. You know what's also Chromium based? Chrome. Think about that. And the original core of Google Chrome, if you go in and they don't do it now, they changed it up because people like me started showing everybody this. But if you went in and looked at your properties for Google Chrome, and then you go to Internet Explorer side by side, they're identical. Identical. Okay. Which tells me that Google Chrome is just Internet Explorer at its core with a few enhancements. Okay. So just stay away from, I'm not gonna say don't use Brave. I'm gonna say I would not recommend any Chromium based browsers. Firefox for me does, I have not come across in probably 5, 6, 7 years one thing other than plugins or websites that were specifically written for Chrome. I've not come across anything I do on a daily basis that does not work in Firefox. Okay, so just be aware of that. Nico, probably not coffee. It's probably Tennessee whiskey. No comment. So anyway, yeah, Detonate. It is good. It is not as resource intensive as Google Chrome, but it's Chromium based, and with Chromium based browsers, that's possibly something that you're going to have to deal with when it comes to security and things like that. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is deleting files. Now I get this. I got to reposition myself because this is always an interesting topic. Okay. So most people think there's two ways to delete a file. You send it to the recycle bin, or you delete it from the recycle bin and it's gone forever. Okay. Now, there is a small amount of truth in that, but there is, okay, so what happens if you look here, this video I made, and this is all down in the description. If you don't have to go find the page, just click on the link. But this video right here shows anybody how in less than a couple minutes you can go download this free program for a file that's recently been deleted. Say you just deleted your college thesis and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? You can go download this program, and in 3 minutes you've got your thesis back for free, 100% free. Remember we talked about free programs back in the beginning? This is one of those free programs. You could go pay for other software that does it, but the free is just great. Why not use it, right? It's called Recover, and I won't get into the program. It's just a great program. Check it out. And the links are in that video as well. But here's what happens when you delete a file, okay? When you delete your document, we'll just call it your thesis, okay? Your thesis is called thesis.doc. Let's make it simple. You send it to the recycle bin. All that tells Windows is take it out of the documents folder that it was currently in and now put it in this new folder called recycle bin. And it's a little more complex than that, but for simplicity, the recycle bin is a folder, your documents is a folder. Move it from documents to recycle bin. It's no longer in documents, but it's sitting in the recycle bin. You can go grab it at any time. You can right click and restore it. You can click and drag it. You can do, it's right there. It's just not where it was. Okay. But it's still named thesis.doc. So what happens when you delete it from the recycle bin, you empty your recycle bin and you think you're permanently deleting the file. Now, instead of it being called thesis.doc, it now may be called $HESIS.doc. Okay. It's no longer a thesis. They've changed the first character. It could be a question mark, could be some character that Windows does not recognize. But there is a file system on the computer that says what's been deleted recently, and it keeps a record, like a logbook, like a ledger almost. And it says this file, question mark HESIS.doc, was called thesis.doc. It was stored in this folder. And at that point, the file is now available to be overwritten. So if you go on social media, or you create another document, or you download a file or whatever, you are constantly overwriting files. Now, just because you go download a file off the computer or off the internet doesn't mean it's going to necessarily overwrite that file. It could be weeks, days, weeks, months before that file gets overwritten. It could be seconds. As long as that file is not overwritten, it can be recovered. Okay. That's what I do in my computer business. People say, I was working on this file, I accidentally deleted it. Can you recover it? Yeah, in about 3 minutes. I run the software, boom, it says it's in perfect condition. I click on it, restore it, boom. There it is, right back in documents. Hand me a check. The reason that works is because that system, that ledger, tells Windows this block where that file was sitting, you can overwrite it. It's okay. We don't need it. We've deleted it from recycle bin. It's okay to overwrite it if you want to. So the trick is to delete the file or recover the files before they get overwritten. Now, a lot of people use their recycle bin as their temporary storage, and I definitely don't recommend doing that because it is too easy to accidentally permanently delete a file. And if you don't know any different, then that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. So the other part of the file deletion thing, okay, I'll give you an example here. Pull out our trusty laptop. This was a laptop that was given to me by a customer. Okay. Now, part of what I do in my computer business is I offer PC disposal services. Okay. I don't charge for that. Some places do. There are EPA certified disposal centers all throughout the Mid-South. This customer had their information on it. Okay. Now, they didn't care about it. They didn't need it, but it still had their information. If I could remove their password, which takes me about 15 seconds, and boom, I have access to all their stuff. But because I'm a trusted authority in the computer repair, when I tell them I'm going to take your PC and I'm going to dispose of it, that's what I do. So what I would do, now we're going to assume for a second I'm a good guy, right? So I'm going to take their computer. I'm going to, I got good keyboard, got good screen. Say the motherboard's good. The battery, which I removed earlier, is good. There's a lot of good parts in here that I could either reuse or resell, okay? Including the hard drive and memory that are inside this machine. When I take this hard drive out, I may have a client that needs another hard drive. I get those a lot. Well, if I need a terabyte hard drive and this one was donated to me, I got to make sure that this person's data is off this drive permanently, okay? I can't just go and delete the files and that be enough, because if the next customer that I give this to went to run that recovery software, they would see this person's casually deleted files. So there's ways to do it. And I actually got a video coming out. There's a program I recommend. It's Aomi's Partition Assistant. There's a free version of the program. It does data wiping. It does all this stuff. There's a gazillion ways to do it. And so I won't get into all the specs of it. But the most important thing you need to know is that if you are giving your laptop or selling your laptop or your hard drive, whether it's a computer drive, an old USB flash drive, an old laptop, old desktop, whatever, if it has a drive in there that has anything that you care about, and I'll leave that as a very broad picture because I don't want to get demonetized for talking about this, but there are things of a personal nature on a lot of people's computers that maybe they don't want, out in public. So always make sure that if you give the computer to somebody, that they are somebody that's reputable. Like I said, I personally do all that stuff. I scrub the software. There's but there's 4 different main ways to do it. How much you scrub the drive as to how recoverable those old files are. I can make it very easily to where NASA couldn't recover. I don't think NASA recovers files. Do they recover? No, but whoever, the NSA could not recover files. The FBI couldn't get files off of it if I wanted to. Okay. And usually I will just do that a couple scrubs, just overwrite everything with zeros until there's nothing to pull. So someone's personal thesis or their personal photos, wink, wink, can't be recovered. Okay. So bear that in mind when you run into that problem. Okay. So Nico says, my P.O. box is an EPA certified gaming PC disposal cell. You're not, you crack me up, man. So, Detonate, there's the option to reset your computer for giving away and selling it. Yes. And that is a common misconception. Microsoft lies. End of chat. That, if you're going to sell it thing, is total BS. I just explained to you that all you have to do is delete files, and I can take that drive and recover it just like that. Do it all day long. Someone's accidentally reinstalled Windows but can't find their files. All day long, no problem. So when they say choose this option if you want to wipe it and reinstall, or wipe it so you can sell it, yeah, you can sell it. It's not going to, people won't easily be able to find your files. But I promise you, if it gets in the hands of somebody like me or Nico or any of these people, yeah, I promise you, in no time, we've got your stuff. And if it's, and it has been in a situation, I actually have had this happen years ago, where they were trying to do this without violating anybody's privacy. The couple was going through a divorce. The husband had information on the computer that was detrimental to his case. And in his thinking, I'll just wipe it and reinstall Windows, and look, you can have my computer. There's nothing on it. She got a hold of the computer, gave it to me, and said, exactly, I need to get whatever was on this computer, and I need you, and this is how long ago it was, I need you to burn it to DVD. We weren't even using flash drives then. And I used some other recovery software, and was able to get a lot of stuff that was not beneficial to him in the court case. Let me just put it that way. Now, my conscience sometimes bothers me, but at the same time, you know what? It's a customer asking for a product or service. I don't want to get into the weeds on whether it was good or not, or bad or not, or should the husband be, outsmarted by the computer guy, whatever. I'm being paid for a service, and I did the service, But point is that Microsoft deal, yeah, like Microsoft does something less than 100% honest. Yeah, absolutely. It unfortunately it's designed, that the Microsoft statement is designed because they assume that everybody, if you read that statement and it makes sense to you, that the majority of people are in that same level of computer knowledge. Okay. In other words, if you're this high on the computer scale, you probably hang out with people around that. You don't generally hang out with people that are like rocket scientists. You probably hang out with people, your general knowledge. We all do, right? That's why geeks hang out with geeks and cheerleaders hang out with cheerleaders. That's what they do. So, but yeah, Microsoft should, in theory, have stated, be aware a computer professional who's getting paid could get your data, and here's another way to do it. But, anyway, they don't. So what happens if you recycle the recycle bin? You can't, for one. Well, you actually can. You can make it disappear, but you can't divide by zero. It's not you can't recycle yourself. So anyway, yeah, Nico brought up a good point. And IT guy is essentially a digital private investigator for hire, and that happens a lot. Unfortunately, like I said, I try not to get in the storyline because I have to be objective. I don't. She starts telling me all the stupid things he's done, and I'm like, stop. I appreciate you, but now I can't be partial or impartial to doing the job. If you make him sound like a scumbag, or whatever, so it's one of those things where you do the service, but just be aware. Long story short is when you delete files, be careful what you're deleting, and be careful how careful you think you're being, because you're not. Okay, because people like me and Nico can definitely get in there and do whatever we want. All we have to do is get a hold of your computer. So now, one of the last things that we're going to talk about is our favorite little blue spinny circle of death thing and what that means for the average person. Real quick. Ikore did I like the Shiba, or the Shiba. When I got my PC, it was pre-installed Windows 11. Is there any way I can get Windows 10 without losing apps? Without losing apps? No. Okay. Now, it is possible that your Windows 11 machine has hardware that is Windows 10 able, meaning there's drivers that exist for Windows 10. The easy way to find out is to go to the manufacturer's website of your existing computer, go to your drivers support section, and look and see if there's Windows 10 drivers. If there is for your Windows 10 drivers for your computer, then yes, you could definitely wipe it. Follow the steps I told you earlier on how to download the Windows 10, because there's no way to do it from the Windows 11 PC installation. You'd have to go and boot to a Windows 10 disk to install Windows 10. You wouldn't have any apps that came with the computer, but you would have a clean Windows 10, and hopefully you downloaded the drivers from the website before you did all this when you went to go look and see if Windows 10 drivers existed. If you downloaded those, installed 10, installed the drivers, now you have a clean Windows 10, but you're not going to have any of those apps, okay? So I hope that answered your question. If not, clarify for me. Why is the Windows 11 not supported in my Core i5 version? It is supported in even Core i3s. Well, just like YouTube, Microsoft has an algorithm. It has less to do with the i5. Like you can have an i5 dual core that is slower than an i3 quad core, and Microsoft wants your money. Okay. So they're going to, I think this is the dumbest thing ever, but they are going to make it to where only certain computers can be upgraded to the Windows 11. And if not, gosh darn it, you're going to have to go buy another license of Windows. Buy a new computer, because that's what effectively happens. You go buy a computer, Microsoft gets paid. That little sticker, the certificate of authenticity, that is an invoice from Microsoft. I'm giving you this number, you're giving us money. And the big manufacturers do it all day long. So if it were me, shocker, a massive corporation wants your money. I know, crazy, right? I'm actually going to I've been planning on doing a video on this, but I want to research it further, because I actually, the video I'm doing right now about the Partition Assistant, one of the tools in it is a Windows 11 health checker. And so I covered that in the video. It'll be released probably next week, so you guys can check it out. It's a super cool program. I love it. But the Windows 11 checker, when it goes and looks at my system, it's like X, 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 X. Ooh, check, 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 check. In other words, all those X's, because I have an old Dell Inspiron Studio 8100. It's probably 10 years old, but it's a racehorse. It runs. It's running the stream. It runs everything. It's super fast. SSD, 16 gigs of RAM. It's a beast. Okay. Do I want a faster computer? Yes, but this one does really everything I need it to do. But it won't run Windows 11. But there are videos out there on YouTube, and I've seen them. I haven't watched them all the way through, but there are videos out there that show you how to upgrade an unsupported PC. In other words, it doesn't meet the TPM and the secure boot requirements. Those two, because most people have 1 gig of RAM and all that. Those are the software requirements, or the softer requirements. But the TPM and the secure boot, is why I can't upgrade, because my computer's 10 years old. It doesn't have TPM, or it has secure boot, but it doesn't have the TPM, the trusted platform module. That's how you can use like Face ID and things like that. It's all extra security, which most people don't use anyway, but it's embedded into these newer computers, and it's required for the security of Windows 11. Does that make sense? So if you don't have these minimum requirements, you can't upgrade. However, there are people who have found a way around it, and I am going to make a video about taking that old computer, like the old beastie here, and throwing Windows 11 on it, just to show you how you can do it. Because, I'm going to make a video about it because I think my customers would be interested, being forced to go buy a new Windows 11 computer, or here's how you can do it with the old computer that you have, and it works great. So hope that answers your question. So let's see. All right. So anyway, the what I was talking about here is the Windows little spinny thingy, right? Now, this could be caused, a lot of people get confused when they see this, because it can be caused by everything's either software or hardware. It all boils down to that. Everything that happens to your computer is either a software problem, Windows, virus, a program you downloaded, a configuration file, a registry file, something. It's all software. Or it's a hardware problem. Your memory, your hard drive, motherboard, processor, all of those things are hardware. What this little deal is here, when you see this, and of course this is just a screenshot, but it's the little blue circle. Sometimes you'll see it when you click on a file to open it, and it just sits there and spins for a little bit. And then it finally opens up. Sometimes this is what happens when you boot your computer, and it just sits here forever. Okay. So what happens is, oh yeah, thank you, detonate. It could also be the GPU. Very good point. Your graphics processor, graphics card for us old people, GPU for the younger folks. But yeah, GPU, because it has onboard memory and a processor, it could absolutely cause the same problem. But what'll have a lot of gamers come across this, they'll upgrade hardware, and all of a sudden they get this error message because it's not compatible or whatever. So anyway, the majority of time that I see this, it's software. Okay. And usually it depends on what happens after you see the circle. Okay. So if you're in Windows and you click on something and it eventually opens, it's either a bug, like you picked up some malware, or you might have a high level of disk fragmentation, meaning your files are just kind of scattered all over the hard drive and there's really no organization to them, and the drive needs to be defragmented. Or you could have a Windows corruption error, some type of error in the file system. And I'll show you real quick what you can do to check that. So what you would want to do from your start menu is go to type in command prompt or CMD, click over here and click run as administrator. Okay. And then you'll get this box that pops up. Okay. What you want to do is you can type in SFC space scan now. Too many N's. Okay. And you hit enter. And what that's going to do is it's going to start checking your computer to make sure that your Windows files are correct in size and name. It's also going to make sure that drivers are correct. You don't have corrupt drivers, things like that. Basically, anything that would throw Windows off, SFC, the system file checker, is going to take care of that. And it takes, it's 7% done. I know nothing's wrong with my computer, so I'm just going to let that, not going to let it run. But the system file checker, a lot of times, can take care of those problems that are caused, or that cause that little blue spinny thingy. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do if you see that little blue circle is it's possible. Now, we're still talking about the software side. Okay. We've got a hardware, the hard drive and all that. But we're still talking about Windows and the files that are on that drive. And it doesn't matter whether you have an SSD or a regular old spindle drive. It's the same concept. Okay. But it's possible that you may have disk corruption, meaning that the file table, Windows says your files are supposed to be here, 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 here. but those files are actually over here. Okay. There's a mismatch. There's a miscommunication. So when you say open this file, it says, oh, wait a minute, you're not here. So now it's got to go look for it. And then it goes and finally, as the little blue circle is telling you, please hold, it finally finds the file you're looking for because it's not where it's supposed to be. And boom, it opens up on your computer. That can be caused by disk corruption errors. So an easy way to fix that, from the same command prompt, you can just type in chkdsk space /f, like fix. Okay. Hit enter. If it needs to restart your computer, it will do that. It'll tell you it can't do it. It'll restart on the it'll run on the next restart. That fixes a lot of those little spinny thingies. Okay. So now you can also do a check disk /r, chkdsk/r. But what this does is it checks for bad sectors on your physical hard drive. Now it's a hardware problem. Okay. So run the /f first and see if that makes any difference. Okay. One of the other things that causes those little blue spinny thingies, and I don't know what they're called. Some people call them the blue circle of death. I just call it the blue spinny thingy. But you can also, as I told you before, check your startup. Okay. If you go to right-click Task Manager, go to, or right-click your taskbar, go to Task Manager, go to Startup, look and see how much stuff you have running. Okay. Now, if you've got a lot of stuff running, disable it, restart your computer, see if you notice any difference. Okay. That can make a difference. Another thing you can do is run a disk defragmenter. Okay. Now I do, not AOL. No, I do not do AOL. I use this program. This is the program I told you about that I'm making a video on. It's AOME Partition Assistant. It's pretty cool. And I'll have a link and everything for you guys to check out. But you could just literally click on your drive, right click, and go to disk defrag. And then what it does is it pulls up this screen right here, and you can choose your drive. Like here, I'll just choose my D drive, for example, or my E drive. Okay, I click here and click Analyze, and boom, it's going to run and tell me how fragmented it is. And then I can click, when it's done, I can tell it to defrag my drive. So that actually can make a huge difference in how often you see the little blue spinny thingy. Okay. So like in this case, my drive is 10.6% fragmented. It's not that much, but I could click here and defrag it, and that would put all these files nice and neat back where they're supposed to be. So what happens with a fragmented hard drive is, and the easiest analogy I can give you is, say, for example, anybody's ever been to Walmart 3 days before Christmas and walked by customer service and you see 70 baskets of stuff, right? Everything from pinto beans to tennis rackets, right? There's no rhyme or reason. It's all just thrown in these baskets. That's what a fragmented hard drive looks like. Now, if you've ever gone to the grocery store at, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, and every shelf is lined right up to the edge, everything is beautifully placed, fully stocked, everything's fronted, faced, shelved correctly, where it's supposed to be, nothing's out of place. That's a defragmented hard drive. So in the Walmart example, say you needed a tennis racket. There's one tennis racket left in the store and you need it. You go to Sporting Goods, it's not there, right? Now, the analogy is here, you're clicking on this file so you can open the file, whether it's a picture or whatever. There's a file you're trying to open. There's one thing that you're trying to do. So you need that tennis racket. Well, it's not in Sporting Goods. You go up and down every single aisle. It's not there. Somebody didn't pick it up and throw it down. So now the only place it could be is in one of those 70 baskets. Now, will you eventually find that tennis racket? Absolutely. You got to start with the first basket. Nope, it's not here. Second basket. Nope, it's not here. You may get to basket 70 before you find that tennis racket. But when you find it, now you can purchase it. The equivalent is you have a file in your computer you want to open. When you try to open it, it's not where it's supposed to be. So now Windows and your hard drive have to go find it, find all those little pieces, which is where the defragmentation comes in, because that puts all the pieces closer together, has to go find all those pieces. And now once it finds all those pieces, now it can open the file because it has completed the mission. It has found the tennis racket, or in this case, all the pieces of that file. So that is basically the circle of death in a nutshell. Now, when you get to a hardware, when you come across that error, and it happens when you boot the computer, now you're looking at potential. You're still looking at potential disk corruption where you could do the check disk, and that's what that automatic repair does generally in the background, is it tries to fix itself. But if you see this pretty frequently where this sits on this screen for any length of time, it's possible you have a bad drive. Okay. And as I told you before, that program, one of the reasons I just love this program, and I'm going to make a video about it, I'll show you exactly how it works. I didn't discover this until the other day, but if you look here, this is one of the drives in my computer. You see this little, let me just make this bigger for you here real quick. Okay, you see the little exclamation mark right here? That's telling me that I've got some drive problems. Okay, now what those drive problems are, I don't know, but I know it's all the other drives look fine. So I can just right click on this drive and choose disk health, and it says caution, right? So, okay, that's a problem. Now I can right click on that drive again and do a surface test and see if there's any physical problems with this disk. And if I see any red spots in here, those are damaged portions of the drive, and I definitely need to get them checked, back up the data, reload the, back up the data and somewhere safe, and so I can replace the drive. So this program, like I said, I'm super excited about this video coming out because it covers all of this stuff, and it's totally free. It's just a great program, so I know you guys will love it. But anyway, that's a good way to easily and for free check to see if you have hard drive problem. Now, obviously, your computer has to boot so that you can go download this program. But if you can get it to boot, try all these other things first. The cleaning up the windows with the taskbar and the startup and the defragmentation and all that, and see if that makes a difference. Okay. And a common misconception, I'm just going to go ahead and bust this now because everybody thinks this, and it just makes me pull my hair out. When people have problems with their computer, they go and delete a bunch of files. Like, oh, I had too many pictures, and that's why I had this problem. Well, for a geek, yeah, it's the eye roll, right? But for an average person, it's a legitimate thought. Well, maybe I just got too much stuff, and so I'm just going to delete it. It has nothing to do with it. That's just physically how much space you have available on your drive. And when you get almost full, that can cause performance issues. But if you're 80, 90% full, it doesn't matter. It's not going to cause your machine to run slower because you have 80 billion pictures. So just get that out of your head right now. Myth busted. Okay. So that being said, those are some things that you can do software wise and hardware wise to test for that, see why you're getting the little blue spinny thingy. Okay. So I hope that helped somebody for sure. And now I am ready to open up the floor for questions. Now, I think I tried to get a lot of these questions as we went. Let me see here. Programs resource. Yeah, that's detonated. It's an excellent point. And I didn't mention that, but that is true. If a program is resource intensive, like Fortnite, for example, takes forever to load, but once it loads, it's fine. Okay. Microsoft Office is a hog too. Same thing. So it may take longer to start up. It has to make sure everything is good to go before it runs, like large games, Call of Duty, other things. So yeah, especially for gamers, absolutely excellent point. Thumbs up for sure. That is an excellent point. Great question here from Delta Squad. Why do people fall for the download free RAM scam? It makes no sense. You can download it. The reason is because people don't hear you can download free hardware. People know more RAM makes your computer faster. They don't realize that it's a piece of hardware. It's a memory stick. It's physical hardware. You can't download it. But if you don't know any different, if your only knowledge is what you've heard people say, oh, you need more RAM. Well, what does that mean? If you don't know, you don't know. And those are the people that get, That's part of the reason why I have this channel, is to take things like this and explain them to people, that they understand that there are some things that you can fix and some things you can hardware wise, and other things just don't do it. So, but great question though. Great question. Um, yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. That one was actually, that video almost did not get made, believe it or not. I've had this channel for since, I don't know, year and a half or so. I almost did not make that video. That was a client computer. That was one of the very first videos I ever made. I had the black screen and white cursor. Now, I didn't specifically know what the problem was, but the tools that I use in my everyday computer business, a lot of them I talk about in how to fix. Matter of fact, there's a video. Where is it? Wow, it's one of my. It's one I did not too long ago. How to fix a. Yeah, here it is. How to fix a slow computer, right here. Okay. I talk about these tools and utilities I use, which is basically what I used um, to fix that computer. And so when you walk through that, you see all of that stuff, and that's, it's not hard. You just have to know. First of all, you have to know that you can do it. Second, you have to not be afraid of it. Third, you have to know what tools and how to use those tools. Well, part 1 and 2 I can't help you with, but part 3 and 4 through this channel, as you saw in the video that made you a subscriber and a fan, and I appreciate you. That's all you have to do. I teach people how to take things that you can easily go get, fix it yourself, and if it ends up not working, then you call somebody. So, yeah, Delta, you've been one of my favorite subscribers, because I can always count on you to keep my mind sharp with your questions almost on a daily basis. And please keep them coming. I love it. I love answering those questions. So, yeah, Nico does detonate. Nico does some of this. He doesn't go. I'm more of the break fix guy. I'm the one that actually will do more of the behind the scenes stuff. Nico is like, he has a very specific plan of attack for most everything he does, and he's like, this is the problem. This is the easiest way to fix it. Follow my directions. Don't deviate. Boom, done. And it works. Matter of fact, there's a program that I'm running on this client computer right now that I found out about from Nico. And I thought I knew everything, because 30 years, you kind of just learn everything, right? There's a program called Transcript, which, thanks to Nico, man, I'm in love with that program. It's amazing. So I use it now, and it's just wonderful. It really helps me out. So now, Zoac X, how to use I assume, virtual machine safely to test and research viruses. Depends on the VM that you use. If you use a virtualware, if you use virtualware, pretty sure that's the sandbox that everything you run in is going to protect it from most. I know it'll protect you from malware and some viruses. If you get a rootkit, I wouldn't go dabbling too deep down that rabbit hole. But yeah, you could definitely do. I've done that where I ran Windows 11 and threw a test virus on it, and it only affected the sandbox. It theoretically should only, even a rootkit virus, which is the worst of it. It's like all 4 tires blowing off your car at the same time. Theoretically, that should also be okay. But I don't want to say do that and then you blow up your system and get mad at me for it. So, question: my old PC was running so slow. It was a 1060 and an i5. Old PCs, iPhone. I've got a 10-year-old PC and it's an i5, so that tells you. But the cursor was freezing all the time. Maybe virus? Yeah, possibly. If you get a quality antivirus program and you don't have to spend money, Windows Defender's decent. Avast antivirus, Avast, A-V-A-S-T is what I recommend. That'll be, matter of fact, on this computer that I was just talking about, they have Norton antivirus, and there was all kinds of weird behavior. Matter of fact, I'm making that video, so you'll see that one in a couple of weeks on how I did it. But it was still acting squirrely, even after I'd done all these other things. And it had Norton Online Security, but it had expired. I removed the Norton security, installed the Avast, and guess what? There was a rootkit virus. I did a boot scan, it restarted, found the rootkit, boom. Everything worked great after that. So definitely check that first. But most likely, if you've said it, you got a 1060. I'm guessing you're a gamer. You probably have a ton of stuff loading in your startup, and I would probably focus on that, making sure that no startup items are in there and that you only need absolutely what you need. Okay. Once you've kind of gone through all the steps, like I explained earlier, then that's when you can really look. I mean, you can still run a virus scan while you do these other things. It's not going to hurt you, but use a, don't go paying for a virus program unless you specifically want to. So, oh, this one's funny. Nico at his finest. If I have a VCR with RCA out, but using an RCA to S video cable and my S video to VGA adapter, can I use a VGA to DVI-D cable to connect my VCR to my dishwasher? Sad that people like me read that like regular English. Everything up to the dishwasher, Nico. I have yet. Well, technically, I don't know if they have inputs on the back or not. I know they're all electronic now. You can tell them to do all kinds of stuff. So it's entirely possible that you could do that. So, oh, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate that a lot, buddy. We all have our strong suits. I'm break fix, you're brain fix, and I love that. So, detonate. Yeah, it's Transcript. It's open source. Let me see if I can find the website for you. Nico made a video about this, and I never told him how awesome he was for it. But it is hands. Yeah, you can go to transcript.com, and it's a mirror server, so you can just go there and download it. But yeah, or just Google Transcript. That's all I did here is just Google it, and it will pull up. Usually GitHub, excuse me, or GitHub, or whichever. Those generally are going to have the files that you need. I can't remember where I bought it, but yeah. So yeah, just be careful because there are a lot of people out there that will try to take advantage of a popular program like that and direct you to somewhere where it's malware or whatever. So let's see. Nico, if you're still on, how ironic is this? Dude, Nico and I talked a long time ago about making a collab video because I come from one end of the spectrum and he's on the engineer side. I'm on the common user break fix. Grandma got a virus, and Nico's like, let's break grandma's fingers so she can't get a virus. And the two of us, we butt heads, but we do agree on a lot of stuff. So I think that's hilarious that she said that. So let's see. Yeah, Windows 11 Toolbox is useful, but again, if you get Windows 11 and it works and you have no problems, don't get too excited because tomorrow you could have a problem. So if you're working on it works and you're happy with it, cool. Knock yourself out, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm just catching up to the comments. But yeah, me and Nico work on a collab. We're trying to figure out where our schedules meet. So let's see. Heard about this website. Not going to link it. I guess it spreads a virus. It still does. Yeah. If you go for Transcript, for sure. If you, like I said, when I just showed you in the video, if you go just Google it, people are going to take advantage of that. So I would stick to a trusted source. Generally, if you go on Reddit, the folks on Reddit they're going to tell you. They're going to be like, warning, warning, warning. So, and if you're still 100% sure, reach out to me. I'll point you in the right direction, but just use common sense. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Okay. So, oh yeah, as a matter of fact, that's an excellent point. Nico said that's, matter of fact, you could do one better than that and go, Nico made a video. Let me show you here. Actually, let me find, there's a video. Yeah, here it is right here. Let me go back. This is Nico's page right here. Highly recommend you guys check it out if you want to take like what I know and take it to the next level. I think this one, Nico, is the one about the Transcript. Pretty sure it is. Looking for the link. There'll be, can't remember, was it Delta or Detonate? One of you guys was looking for the actual Delta Squad. There should be a link in here. All right, Nico, where is it? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, reddit.com/r/transcript. So let me copy that. I'll throw it in the comments here. Sorry. So I'll put that in here for you. There you go. So that is the legit, that is the transcript, the actual transcript, legit download. So you're safe with that. Let's see. Oh, Cam, I didn't realize that was you, man. Why didn't you say something earlier? I'm sitting here talking. I'm like, I know. Why do I feel like I know this guy? Yeah. Hey, man. Cameron was the one that set me up with my Discord server. So, again, another rock star, and he's probably a third my age. So, makes me feel really old. Can I get a virus if I visit a website? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. They are what I call drive-by downloads. Now, they're not as common nowadays. Most people don't get viruses anymore, really. Most people get malware. It's really kind of, getting an actual virus is rather difficult, to be honest with you. It's not. I mean, yeah, you absolutely can. Don't get me wrong. You absolutely can get a virus. I could go download a test virus right now. So they definitely exist. What I would tell you is, whatever you do on a daily basis, make sure you have good protection, at least adequate or decent protection. Use Windows Defender if you have nothing else. If you don't want to use that, use Avast antivirus or whatever. Use something, because all it takes is you get one, and that's going to ruin your day real quick. So, yeah, Nico, 1.5 million views. Go ahead and rub it in. Yeah, I hear you, buddy. Yeah, I'm working on it. So, yeah, excellent point. Most virus attacks are direct. So either somebody has really got it out for you, or what will happen is like a phishing attack. If you don't know what phishing is, it's like, if you've ever gotten an email where it says, your package has been delivered, or we've been trying to reach you, or whatever, click here, or your Facebook password has been changed. Those are called phishing emails. And I actually made one of my earlier videos. I made a video about how to protect yourself from phishing attacks, what to look for in an email, because generally, if you go, something don't smell right, it probably isn't. So, but yeah, that kind of stuff will happen. Direct attacks can also be directly from, malicious hackers and so forth. So, now, generally, try not to irritate most people, and you shouldn't have to worry about those kind. But phishing is really where you get the most, because what they want to do is they want to put something on your computer that will make money. Okay, first, because they don't do it for fun. Well, some do, but most of them do it for fun or for income. So if they can make a penny for every 100 clicks or every 1,000 clicks, they put something on your computer. And I guarantee you, if you have an AOL address, they're buying those AOL addresses up in bulk, because if you're an AOL user, they assume you don't know much about computers. So they go after those people first, which is why there's so much spam on AOL. Okay. It's like if you find somebody with a CompuServe email or a Hotmail, generally they're going, so just got to be aware of that. But if you click on something and it replicates through your mailbox and it goes out to your hundreds of clients, and each of those hundreds of clients, it replicates through their mailboxes out through, next thing you know, you have a worldwide worm that is replicating your paid bug. That's why they do it. So you just have to be responsible. you know. Yeah, Cam, perfect. If you're irresponsible with your browsing habits, you can pick up viruses like candy. That's absolutely true. One of the things that I tell my customers, it's interesting, it's a perfect parallel there. One of the things I tell my customers, if you only do these 4, 5, 6 things, you're what I call a pick 6 user. You have about this much chance of getting infected. So why are you spending $100 a year on this Norton antivirus or whatever? You could probably not have an antivirus and probably still be okay. Okay. If you're like me, conversely, where I need to know something and I get on the Google until I find it, I need antivirus to say, hey, stupid, matter of fact, I'll show you. Perfect example. This actually happened to me a couple hours ago. I was looking for something, and boom, my MalwareBytes said, I don't think so, Tim. Now, thank God I have the MalwareBytes because that's what happens. But it does happen, and and you have to, you can even professionals like me can fall prey to it. If the website looks legit and I'm in a hurry, I could have absolutely done that. So, oh yeah, and Cam, yeah, and of course, we've been trying to reach you about your extended warranty. I love that. Bitcoin miners are the worst. That Bitcoin miners are the reasons that average people can't go get a new graphics card right now, because a card that cost $100 normally now costs $1,500. But they're dropping in prices, so it should be good. Yeah, definitely. Congrats, Nico. That video. You're killing it, man. Killing it. Love it. Love it. So, I don't know if I think I got most of everybody's question. I'm OCD enough. Generally, I can do 16 things at once, and I didn't have to save a lot towards the end. But I think that pretty much covers just about everything, unless anybody has anything else for me. I'll give you a little bit longer in the chat, and we'll see. How about some nice background music? Cool. Hey, look, man, I appreciate that so much. People think YouTubing is easy. It's like just get in front of the camera and do all this. It's not. And I literally have done so much research on how to YouTube. The best way, the best practices, cameras, lighting, the whole 9 yards. I've literally done so much research on that. I almost opened a second channel just to be able to teach people what I've learned. But I barely have time to do this channel stuff. Nico, best question. Do all IT guys wear golf shirts? Well, yes, we do. No, I don't know why. I love blue, as you can probably tell. Blue's my favorite color. I hadn't worn the shirt in a while, and the T-shirt I was wearing probably would not have been safe for public consumption. So I decided, you know what? You never go wrong with a polo. So. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up there. Speaking of, when are we going to do our collab? Because I know my viewers would love it. I know your viewers it'd be great for them to have somebody to laugh at. So we definitely need to make that happen, my friend. I've got all the equipment. Let's make it happen. I even have the coffee. Can y'all hear that music in the background? It's part of the Streamlab, the Streamyard. I can hear it. So no more questions? All right. Well, I guess we hit 2.5 hours. I guess I should probably wrap this up for our very first live stream. Okay, cool. Cam can hear it. Cool. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. So you need a nap. Look, I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with me. This first stream was such a big deal for me. I don't even know. I just can't even thank you enough. So thank you for sticking around. One question here from Kev. I created a Microsoft account for my digital key. not knowing that I need that password to log into Windows. Now I'm locked out. I want to save my data on the drive. Does utilman still work? Yes, it absolutely does. It does work. And since you used it referenced it specifically, you know what you're talking about. So I won't even point you to the video, but I did make a video on how to do that. Yes, it does still work. The only thing I would tell you is after you run utilman. Now, here's the deal. The utilman fix only works on local accounts. Okay. If you want to reset a Microsoft account, I actually found a product that could do it. Now, I will tell you, full disclosure, it does cost like $20, but right here, this video right here, how to quickly bypass a Microsoft account. It's a Win4 key software, I think it's what it's called, and it absolutely will. That's matter of fact, I'll show you. I use it so much. It's now along with my 17 other flash drives. I have now permanently, for WinKey, I permanently keep this in my pocket. I can literally show up at a client's house who has a Microsoft account, boot off of this drive, and within 2 minutes, they're in. And then, yes, they're going to get a pop-up saying there's a problem with your Microsoft account, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can still use your computer and you save everything. And then at that point, you can just go to Microsoft and say, I forgot the password and reset it or whatever. Or just change your computer to a local account instead of a Microsoft account. You don't need a Microsoft account anyway. But when you set up Windows for the first time, it makes you do that. It doesn't give you the option. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. Now you have to have a Microsoft account, period, point blank, end of story. So yes, to answer your question, it does still work. And you can, like I said, I made a video on how to do that manually, which if you know how to do that, cool. If not, there is a video on my channel that shows you how to do that. But yeah, absolutely. It does work, but not for a Microsoft account. Okay? Only for local accounts. So, Lisa, yes, absolutely. Wine 30, yes, cool. Dana, thanks so much. I appreciate you showing up. Nico, I appreciate that, buddy. And oh, look at him. He's trying to bribe me for something, I think. Probably trying to get me to fly down to him instead of him flying up here, but that's okay. Hey, Cam, look, you and I have gone back and forth many times, and you've asked me a lot of questions. I'm glad I can help you. So, yeah, let's keep it going, man. So, yeah, excellent, man. Good point. It's easy money, and when I tell people they don't need a Microsoft account, then they're like, why do I have one? I'm like, well, you know, yeah. Unless you have a key that's already linked to your Microsoft account. That's a good point. Unfortunately, you didn't know me when you did that. I would have told you don't do it, but, you know, it is what it is. So hey, yeah, let's do it. You know, I'm all for that. Yeah, absolutely. Dana is a local friend of mine who is scary smart. I looked at her resume and I kind of felt dumb. I met her through a friend of a friend, and I would absolutely love to get together with you. We could do, and you wouldn't even have to drive across town. How cool is that, right? So let's do it. Hey man, listen, I appreciate that. Look, if you haven't figured it out, there's two things you can count on. I say it depends a lot. And I will talk about this because this is my passion. I have done this for 30 plus years. I could literally talk for 24 hours straight if the questions kept coming. It's my passion. It's why I built this YouTube channel, because I wanted to put that out here for the public to see it and feel it. Now I just got to get better at making videos, but the live stream was a big thing for me. I wanted to get that. It's the big hurdle. You know, I got my 1,000 subscribers thanks to all you guys. Is fantastic to get me to that point for monetization, and I wanted to give back by rolling out as much free information as possible for you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that comment. Let's see. I don't want to retrieve the Microsoft account. I'm just looking to save the data, which is on a Microsoft account. I'm still able to create another admin and copy files from the locked user. Yes, you can. Here's how you do it. When you have that, I assume you're talking about this drive is in a secondary machine, or you're talking about you can still access it like just from that same machine, okay? Because you can create that account in DOS and do that. When you click on your old folder, you'll get a message. And this, if anybody has ever loved Microsoft security, you'll love this. When you click on go to your users folder and you go to your old folder, it'll say, you don't have access to that folder. And then you say, okay. And then 10 minutes later, boom, all your files pop up. Not very secure, but yeah, you just have to be patient. Or if it doesn't actually do that, you can actually go and take ownership of that old user folder. Like say you wanted to just use this new one and you didn't care about the old one except you wanted the files. You could just take ownership of that old user's profile folder, make it yours, give it permissions to the new user. And then just like that, you have everything right there. You can copy and paste it. And then you can go into your app settings and just delete the old profile because you've already got everything copied. So so you could definitely do that. Oh, sweet. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that one because it's unintentional. You logged to the computer and they hadn't linked it. Hey, you know what's bad about free Windows 10? Nothing. Free's good. I should have named my channel that instead of Ask the Computer Guy. But no, free is good. Free is good. Free is good. So, and yeah, Nico, you nailed it, man. This is what I love to do. And the conversations Nico and I have had, guys, over since we've known each other, he's like, "Will this guy please shut up?" This is what I love to do. I don't charge my customers for this information when I go sit down with them. This is part of what they pay for, is the education and the knowledge. I point them to my YouTube channel. I don't care if they figure out something on my YouTube channel that means they don't have to call me. I educated somebody on something that they didn't know, and now they feel super comfortable with because of me. That is gratifying. And you know what? At the end of the day, I may not get the computer business from them, but they're going to tell somebody about my channel. And my whole point is to grow this channel to a resource that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people around the world see it the same way. So, Nico, thank you so much for that comment. I really appreciate that. Cool. Well, look, if I do all the talking today, we're not going to have much to talk about next time, but my gut tells me that we probably will. So, thanks again, everybody, so much. If you're not subscribed, please do so. More than the subscription, go check out some of my videos. The watch time is even more important for me. Check out Nico's channel for sure. And Dana, let's get together. I think we're on Facebook. Hit me up on Facebook and DM me, and we'll get together and see what kind of danger we can put together, and we'll do another stream and we'll go from there. So, guys, thanks again so much, and I really appreciate it. See you next time.